hear them a put one style away.
Mtoto wapi?
Yuko ndani, bado daktari anamwangalia.
Na huyu mwanamke sitaki kumuona hapa.
Kawaida ya mwanamke anayemjali mtoto wake hukuwa katika hali hii wakati kama huu.
Mnaelewa vizuri sana ni sababu gani ambayo inatufanya tukae chini hapa pamoja.
Nice try. Oh no, sweetheart. I was not trying.
So watakuniacha ma?
Nipe sababu ya kubaki na wewe.
A very, very good morning to you and welcome to the program. This is Good Morning Kenya. My name is Jen Wamboi. As always, we are glad you have chosen to start your midweek with us right here on KBC Channel 1. We trust that you're going to stay with us through and through as we bring to you the best of a breakfast that has to be offered in the 254. And as always, tuko tayari, the team is up and running. The whole squad is here today. Last week, Victor represented Strongman. Thank you for repping. Huku tuangusha. Umesikia huku tuangusha. We appreciate that. Nonetheless, welcome to the program, Victor.
Absolutely. It's 4th of May. It's a day Form 1s are now joining their respective schools countrywide. For those who will be joining Form 1, by the way, you have all the best that you can from us here on KBC Channel 1. And of course, countrywide, you go there because it's your time. You know what? It's your time for a reason, and there's a season for that. Okay, let's do this. My name is Victor Lo. Welcome to the program. Doreen?
Let's do this, you say. Last week you did it. Now it is the time for us to do it all together again.
Let's do this.
Well, a beautiful morning to your viewers, and just as Vic has mentioned, Form 1s are going to school, so this is the beginning of their first term, and we obviously know how that just does to the roads when it comes to traffic, particularly Nairobi and even beyond. So this morning we focus on various roads in the city and even beyond, simply because just trying to see how all this will affect the traffic flow here and beyond the city. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo. Regina.
Now, good morning. It's been quite a weekend for those who, weren't working for the 4 days that government set aside, one to mourn an icon, that is the late third president, Mwai Kibaki. They are quite a political occurrence, so to speak, in as far as matters of politics are concerned. The persons who spoke, how they spoke, in the manner in which the sitting arrangement was done. All that bespoke of, a shift in matters politics. Good morning. This is Good Morning Kenya, and talking about politics, the question that lingers in the minds of many, especially politicians, is which way in the race to get, or rather secure, a running mate ahead of the August 9th polls. For presidential candidates there, it is emerged that we have at least 47 independent candidates eyeing the top seat come August 9th. In the meantime, we're also looking at what role Mount Kenya is going to play in as far as placement or choosing of a running mate is concerned. Yesterday on Kenya Decides, the question was, which way for Raila? Is it Raila Karua, Raila Kalonzo? Or for Ruto, is it Ruto Gachagua or Ruto Mudavadi? In all this, does the mounting have to be involved. This is a conversation that is going to be taking center stage as we continue with our live broadcast this morning as we speak matters politics. Good morning once again. Glad to have you on board. I'm Regina Manyara. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. If you're tuning in, this is Good Morning Kenya and I'm Regina Manyara. You can get me on Twitter at Ray Manyara. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. Include where you're watching this live broadcast from, given that we are also streaming on our various social media platforms. Now we start off with matters politics, where the message from Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga is that do not be ashamed of selling my agenda in Mount Kenya. The leader was speaking when he met leaders drawn from Kiambu and Murang'a counties.
Assurance to his allies in the Mount Kenya region.
Mtembee kama mko na madaha. Hapana ogopa. Ati nikitaja jina Raila sitaweza kupata kura. Usipopata kura Raila atapata kazi.
Odinga appearing keen on eating into the political capital of the deputy president in the region, urging his best to look at the bigger picture and consider themselves part of a huge political machinery spread out across different parts of the country.
And I'm sure if you take the message that we are going to give you to the people, you will be able to get the people convinced that this is truly is the route to liberation of Kenya.
The ODM leader say the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance will publish its manifesto, a document that will outline their mission and vision in the quest for the country's leadership.
And this week, our people are going to be on retreat to finalize the document. And within a week's time, it's going to be out. And it's going to give you clearly what we want to do in the field of agriculture, in the field of infrastructure, the field of health, the field of industrialization, all these major fields of development.
Odinga was addressing leaders drawn from Kiambu County before he convened a similar engagement in Murang'a. Area leaders urged the Mount Kenya region to back Odinga, arguing that the ODM leader has what it takes to secure the interests of the region.
Ukienda northeastern wako nyuma ya baba. Ukienda hapa eastern wako nyuma ya baba.
In the next 3 months, ili kutoka 3 months tuende to celebrate Baba the 5th, tuendesha nchi ya Kenya kwa sababu ya zile challenges ambazo ziko mbele.
Hakuna mtu amewahi kuwa president hapa Kenya kama hajakuwa opposition. Kwa hivyo mumwambie lazima akuwe opposition leader.
Area leaders urged the Mount Kenya region to back Odinga, arguing that the ODM leader has what it takes to secure the interest of the region.
This country loses 700 billion shillings per annum to graft, to corruption. We will go and seal all those loopholes. So kwa hivyo sasa tuko pamoja. I want you people to know that you are part of a big army that is going to the war with proper weapons, ready to fight, to deliver.
We'll still be keeping tabs on matters politics, given that it's already the season. The campaigns are already underway, and we've already seen those who have sailed through the nominations. What we're keenly waiting to see is who is going to be picked as the running mate in as far as the race to the presidency is concerned. Now, on to sad news is that investigations into the death of the son of nominated Member of Parliament David Sankok are underway. now led by Narok County Criminal Investigations Officer Mwenda Ethiaba. A team of Directorate of Criminal Investigation Officers have spent hours at the lawmaker's home seeking answers for circumstances under which the family's firstborn shot himself dead.
Ewasonyiro Trading Center in Narok County. At the home of nominated Member of Parliament David Sankok, a dark cloud hovers following the sudden death of the family's firstborn son, who is reported to have shot himself dead using his father's shotgun Monday afternoon.
Me and my little brother, we were tossing away to pick fruits, and then on coming back, we bought some ice cream at the gate. There was someone who was vending ice cream. Then we bought mine for my small sister, my small brother, and Memosi. When we came in, so I gave the ice cream to my small brother. I told him to look for me in the house because I was packing to go back to school. And then my brother went to that room. He saw what he saw. Then he came. He told me to come and see it myself. I asked him, what is it? He said, I can't tell you. You come and see it yourself. And then I went and saw, and then I told him.
Tuesday, detectives spent hours at the lawmaker's home interrogating members of the family. According to Narok County Criminal Investigations Officer Mwenda Ethiaba, they are seeking answers to what might have prompted Zankok's 15-year-old son to shoot himself dead. The DCI interrogated a total of 10 people, including employees of the Osim Country Lodge, which is owned by the lawmaker. The CCIO also confirmed that a post-mortem has been carried out on the body, which was being preserved at Longisa Referral Mortuary in Bomet County before being ferried to Umash Funeral Home in Nakuru.
Mambo ya upasuaji wa mwili na tayari imefanyika katika hospitali ya Longisa, na tayari mwili imeondoka Longisa kuelekea pande za Nakuru katika chumba cha kuhifadhi maiti ya Umash.
This even as leaders from across the political and religious divide thronged the home of the nominated Member of Parliament to console the family.
Tumpe watoto wetu matumaini na tuweze kukaa karibu zaidi na watoto wetu. Na tujaribu kuwasikiza, na tujaribu kuwaambia na kuwasaidia umuhimu wa kuweza masomo na umuhimu wa kuweza kuingia kwa shule. Kama kutakuwa na differences ya kutaka kuhamishwa, itaweza fanywa baadaye.
Kwa hivyo langu ni kusema ya kwamba poleni kwa familia hii. Tumeleta neno la faraja kwamba Mungu awatie nguvu, na tunahimiza wanafunzi kote nchini. Njia hiyo ya hasira inaleta hasara.
Tunataka kuambia kama jamii wa hapa, wale ambaye wamekupata tunakuombea na tunaomba familia yako iwe wakati huu wa shida yote.
Bado kama kamati andalizi tunasihi wale wanaotumia mitandao, mambo mengine tusiyafanye mzaha. Usiingie pale katika mtandao ukaandike jambo ambalo si la kweli. Ni vizuri kuambia umma ya kwamba ukitaka maneno ya kweli ni lazima yatoke katika kamati yetu.
May the soul of the departed continue resting in peace, and the sleuths to find out exactly what happened. That's a life that was too young to just get wasted in that manner. Now, still keeping up with matters politics is that ODM leaders in Mombasa County have dismissed the candidature of former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko to succeed Governor Hassan Joho on a Wiper ticket. They claimed that the impeachment of Sonko by the Nairobi County Assembly had undermined his leadership credibility.
It was the traditional Eid Baraza hosted by the Mombasa County government for residents of the town to celebrate the end of the holy month of Ramadan. The heavy downpour did not deter the residents from turning up in large numbers to celebrate. However, the nomination by Wiper Party of former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko to seek the Mombasa gubernatorial seat seemed to have irked the ODM leaders here.
Ni msalata mkubwa na kejeli mtu aliyefeli katika county government ya Nairobi asituletewe sisi hapa Mombasa kwa tumelala tuje tutague. Jambo hilo nasema haliwezekani mchana.
Lazima tukubaliane. Sio maneno ya fitina, tuwapenda kila Mkenya, lakini hatuna upungufu wa viongozi hapa pwani. Kwa hivyo mtu kama anafikiri tuna upungufu, watafute mahali ya kwenda pengine jamii. Na hatuombi msamaha.
We are not a dumping site for rejected leaders in Mombasa County.
They instead drummed up support for ODM's Abdul Swamad Sharif, whose track record as Mvita MP they touted as people-centered.
Ndio maana nimesema mimi nafurahi. Together with my brother Suleiman Shaban, we made a choice. We want to support Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir because I know he will make a very good governor here in Mombasa.
Mheshimiwa Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir, kama ni academic ako nayo, kama ni experience ako nayo, kama ni tajriba ya uongozi ako nayo.
Mimi nawaomba nyote watu wa Mombasa, nawaomba nyote wa Mombasa tumshike mkono huyu jamaa, tumpe kura zetu zote. Kama ulikuwa supporter wa Shabal na kuomba umshike mkono Abdul Swamad Sharif Nasir.
They further rooted for an ODM 6-piece suit voting style in the forthcoming general elections to give them the numbers in the next government.
Sisi hatupingi. Kama wewe ni Wiper unataka kampeni hapa ifanya. Leta kiongozi wako akufanyie. Lakini don't take away my right to support the candidates of ODM here in Mombasa and beyond Mombasa, because we want all these seats to be won by ODM. Hakikisheni kila sehemu mmetoka munaanzia chini kuchagua chungwa mpaka juu, ili ule uongozi uende kwa njia sawa na maelewano.
They at the same time proposed Joho as a worthy running mate for the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya flag bearer Raila Odinga.
And I strongly believe you have what it takes to be the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya.
Away from Mombasa politics is that Murang'a women representative Sabina Chege has urged Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga to pick a female running mate from Mount Kenya in order to push up his stakes in the region.
Speaking at Thika Greens Hotel during a meeting with United Democratic Alliance aspirants, the UDA leaders drawn from Murang'a expressed confidence that the party will clinch majority of the seats in the Mount Kenya region in the August 9 polls.
William Ruto, rafiki zake watu kama Keter, aliwa subject kwa nomination. Na mtu aliposhindwa akaambiwa tafadhali, hii ni demokrasia, wacha tikiti iende yule amechaguliwa na wananchi.
Meanwhile, UDA nominated candidates in Nyandarua County have forged a united front to ensure they defeat their opponents. Led by Nyandarua County Women Representative Faith Gitau, the candidates agreed to hold joint campaign rallies.
Tumeshikana na tumesema hata wale hawakufanikiwa kuwa wamechaguliwa ama wamenominatiwa na hiki chama cha UDA, wote tutawalete pamoja.
Hata ambao wameenda kuwa independent candidates waje tufanye kazi kwa pamoja, kwa sababu ile election ya nomination ilikuwa free, fair and credible.
Wale ambao walikutana kwa mahoteli na wakagawana viti, ati ya kwamba wewe chukua hii, wewe chukua ile, wewe ndio hapa, watu wa Nyandarua wamewakataa from the word go.
Elsewhere, Murang'a women representative Sabina Chege has reiterated that Azimio la Umoja One Kenya presidential candidate Raila Odinga shall enjoy massive support from Mount Kenya region come August 9 polls.
Tungeomba Mungu atusaidie baba atafikishe 40 ama 50%, kwa sababu tunajua mwenye ambaye atakomboa nchi ya Kenya, mwenye ambaye roho ni safi. Unajua character ya mtu, unajua saa zile amesukumwa sana, saa zile amekasirika sana, ndio unajua the real character of somebody.
Speaking at Michuki Technical Institute, Chege asked Odinga to pick a female running mate from Mount Kenya region in order to galvanize his support in the region.
Na kama mlima tungeshukuru sana kama baba angepata mtu kutoka Jubilee kutoka kwa mlima Kenya ili tukue pia pale, kwa sababu kutoka ODM Jubilee ndio ile second party ilifanya impact na baba.
However, members of the Busia County Assembly allied to Wiper Party think otherwise and have backed their party leader Kalonzo Musyoka as Raila's best running mate.
Waangalie nani huyu ambaye anaweza kuwa deputy president, ambaye analeta kura katika Azimio ili Azimio iunde serikali ijayo.
Mheshimiwa Kalonzo Musyoka apewe running mate wa Azimio One Kenya Alliance. Let him exercise the Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga.
Finally, former Agricultural Finance Corporation Managing Director Lucas Meso has accused the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance of foul play in the Busia County gubernatorial race.
The first time Jubilee was going to deliver a seat in this Busia, because tulikuwa na very good supporters, very good support base. Hiyo inaitwa zoning. Inaumiza roho sana.
Now to matters diplomacy and bilateral trade, where the Japanese government has reaffirmed its commitment to the support of Africa's post-COVID-19 economic recovery. Japan's State Minister of Economy, Trade and Industry, Kenichi Hosoda, says his country will collaborate with African countries in areas such as innovation, integration and industrialization in efforts to rebuild the continent.
15 memorandum of understanding have been signed between Japanese and African businesses to improve collaboration in health, agriculture, energy, infrastructure, manufacturing sectors, among others. Japan says it will promote economic development of Africa, business opportunities between member countries, as well as promote trade and trade-related investment in Africa.
Japanese companies with various technologies and know-hows can contribute to improving the quality of life of people in Africa, addressing social challenges and accelerating the growth of Africa.
Trade and Enterprise Development Cabinet Secretary Betty Maina said there are many untapped potential in Africa, noting that Japan was welcome to invest in areas of agriculture, infrastructure, manufacturing and green energy.
Africa is determined to engage in global value chains and enhance intra-African trade. The continent aims to also value add to its resources and diversify its product range for both the continent and the world markets. And we can do this faster and effectively in a cooperative and collaborative manner with like-minded and well-meaning partners.
She noted that Kenya is looking forward to attaining 100% access to clean energy by 2030.
The future of development and industrialization in any country in the world cannot be achieved without the green economy and technology at its epicenter. To this end, the Kenya government has ensured that the green transition is prioritized.
Kenya Association of Manufacturers Vice Chairman Rajan Shah said Kenyan companies will benefit from the skills, knowledge and better technologies from Japan.
With the current global situation of food insecurity and global food inflation, it has become paramount that we increase our own food productivity through various means and technological advances of mechanization.
Kenya Private Sector Alliance Chief Executive Officer Carol Kariuki noted the need for countries to diversify into the new markets, businesses and resources with other countries, saying that Japan presents opportunities that can close economic gaps presented by COVID-19.
So the world is starting to think, how can we diversify and have more resources, have more sources, have more businesses and markets with other countries, so that if something happens in one part of the country or one country, we're not all affected. And so I think COVID and Russia-Ukraine has been a great lesson.
It is indeed back to school in as far as the 4-month election is concerned, at a time when Kenyans are decrying the high cost of living. Which way do we go as a country, talking about leapfrogging the economy post-COVID-19? Now we're going to be keeping tabs on that, but first off, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Let's give him our blessings, okay?
Blessings? What about me then?
Shannon, don't go. I won't allow you to ruin Windsor and Pinky's wedding.
No, I must stop them right now. I must stop them now.
You're Shannon, aren't you? How come?
Right. I'm not dead. I'm still alive.
Bad. Ooh, man a pit bull, you know, hear them a poo, pan style.
A lot of anxiety as the parents and guardians wait to find out exactly where their children have been placed in as far as the placement for Form 1 is concerned. And it's all about back to school, with some of the guardians finding better positions, or rather better schools for their students. Well, keeping up with what is happening and focusing on the Nyanza region. Now, in as far as the school performance, the Kenya Certificate of Secondary School Education examination results are concerned, the questions are abound over the dismal performance of some academic giants in Nyanza. Now, the region appeared to have ceded some of its foothold entrance to new entrants, that is, with no student or school appearing within the best 15 in the country. KBC's Achola Simon sought to find out what really happened and why some of the biggest names performed dismally in the 2021 KCSE examinations.
Airplane 140.
In the year 2015, Maseno School emerged the second best school and the highest ranked public secondary school in the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations in the country. That year, the school managed and precedented 140 straight A's, and the least grade scored was B-.
Our mean score 2015 is 11.393.
Fast forward 2021, the school mean score stands at 8.86, down from 9.577 managed in 2020. Maseno is considered one of the big boys in the Kenya's academic circles.
The information we have so far is that we are the best public school. And so far, the information we have, we only have one school ahead of us.
Many schools in the region appear to have been beaten by the same bug, posting underwhelming results in the year 2021 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations. Are schools in Nyanza on a downward spiral, and does it mean that they can no longer hang with the so-called academic big boys and girls?
Nyanza is not on a downward trend. Maybe there's something that happened. We are forgetting that schools like Maranda experience school closures and disruption almost twice.
There were challenges, the effect of corona that brought in emerging issues, and some of these emerging issues could have affected.
We are not worried because we know that very soon we'll be there. We'll also produce students in top 20. In fact, this year I think we just missed it narrowly. But one of our students who was among the top 40 was in top 40 nationally.
Importantly, however, is the zeal displayed by extra-county schools. Orero Boys High School in Homa Bay County emerged the best school in Nyanza region with a mean grade of 9.4. The school scooped 6 straight A's and 66 A minors.
The big boys missed out slightly, but the younger ones came and covered. So we are not on a downward trend. We have still performed well, and maybe comparing the sub counties in Nyanza, I believe that Homa Bay County is an academic giant. Just go down, sit down, and analyze the results. If the genuine result that is there, you'll find that in Homa Bay County there are so many schools with 8.5 and above, so many. And the fact that the drops are there, or the negative deviation, is something that has also made us go back to the drawing board. Yeah, and we are searching ourselves personally. Just before you came in, we had the senior management team.
In South Sakwa Bondo Sub-County in Siaya County, St. Paul's Akoko Secondary School produced the second best student in county schools across the country.
We can perform. If you give us a good student, we'll also give you good results.
This perhaps lending credence to the notion that county and extra-county schools are slowly but surely scaling the academic ladder. Ogande Girls High School Principal Jennifer Otolo says one of the major handicaps, however, is a stretched infrastructure in county and extra-county schools, and that the government needs to quickly address the problem. She says the girl child must also be encouraged and provided with safe spaces to achieve academic excellence.
It's my prayer that God gives us wisdom, given us teachers, that with all this, with the challenges coming up, challenges that came up with Corona, as things are going to normalcy, we shall be able to give the best.
The celebrations that made the release of the 2021 Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examination results appear to have overshadowed the fact that the overall performance was dismal compared to the previous year. Actually,
Matters education is that the government has been challenged to put in place mechanisms for students who do not get the entry points to local universities to access scholarships for universities abroad. Speaking during the inauguration of the Study in India Education Fair, University of Nairobi Vice Chancellor Professor Stephen Kiama called on for more collaborations in the education sector.
Each year, thousands of students fail to join public universities in the country due to limited capacity to absorb them. One solution to the crisis, according to University of Nairobi Vice Chancellor Professor Stephen Kiama, is to explore scholarship opportunities in universities abroad.
I really look forward to seeing what the universities that are exhibiting today are showing, and I believe that many of the Kenyans who are here today we will be able to see and take up the opportunities that are being offered in India for study.
Kiama was speaking in Nairobi at the inauguration of the Study in India program, where the Indian High Commissioner to Kenya, Dr. Viranda Paul, said the program offers over 2,000 scholarships to foreign students annually.
The facilities existing in India, which are in fact further expanding both in public and private sectors, are fully available to Kenyan students. And India's network of world-class universities offers quality training in practically all disciplines.
I attended this Study in India program because I want to pursue a medical course in dental surgery, and I'm hoping for a scholarship because most of the universities have a scholarship.
It's really a great opportunity that to students, especially the ones studying in university, because it has given us a chance to interact with so many people that are coming from Indian institutes, and also a way for us to achieve our dreams in future.
Now off to the counties. Kenyans are being urged to donate their cornea in case they die to help meet the local demand for the organ. Optometrist says it's costly to acquire cornea from other countries. They say poor public awareness on the need to donate cornea is to blame for the high eye burden related diseases in the country.
Currently, Kenya is importing cornea from countries such as the US, India and Sri Lanka. Optometrists now want Kenyans to consider donating their cornea, especially when they die, to save the situation.
The system is quite weak in a way that there is a poor demand for existing eye health services, meaning that the community is not well informed of what is available. The other issue we came across was about the issue of the availability of health workers in eye health. There are quite few, and even those who are there, you find they are not even in the rural areas that we really want to reach the most of the people.
Meanwhile, evangelical churches have called on the Director of Public Prosecution, Nudin Haj, to expedite cases lodged against corrupt leaders.
Hiyo ni kutofuata maadili anastahili kufuata kama kiongozi mwenye kiongozi wa mashtaka. Anastahili kufanya kazi yake vilivyo, iwe wakati wa uchaguzi ama wakati usio wa uchaguzi, kwa sababu ni lazima sheria ifanyike wakati wowote kwa ajili ya mwananchi wa Kenya.
In Githunguri, 40 bright but needy students who scored over 300 marks in last year's Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examination have been offered full education scholarship by the Kago Walidia Foundation.
Watoto ambao wako na shida, ambao wazazi wao hawajiwezi ama hawawezi kupeleka watoto wao katika shule za sekondari na wamepita, na nitasema wametusaidia sana kwa sababu tumeungana na wao, wameungana na Walidia Foundation kuhakikisha ya kwamba watoto wote hapa Githunguri wameingia shule.
Elsewhere, a group of doctors have conducted home visits in Mavoloni, Yatta, to attend to the medical needs of some bedridden patients.
The problems we have discovered here is they are non-communicable diseases because of age, that is high blood pressure, high blood sugar and arthritis, and others have got some deficiencies, and so they would require regular follow-up and supplementary treatment.
Over 200 patients received free medical examination, food items, among other donations.
Now on to matters sports. Athletics Kenya has named the final contingent to the Africa Senior Athletics Championship slated for the 8th to the 12th of June in Mauritius. Kenya will be represented by 44 athletes in the continental assignment. Team Kenya will be aiming to defend their overall title after emerging victorious in the last edition held in 2018 in Asaba, Nigeria.
Asbel Kiprop will line up in the men's high jump alongside Matthew Sawe. Reigning African champion Julius Yego will lead the team of Alexander Kiprotich and Metusela Kiprop in the men's javelin. Africa's 100 meters record holder Ferdinando Manyala will lead the team of Samuel Imeta and Dennis Otieno, while the women's team has Maximila Imali, Monica Zafania and Eunice Kadogo.
We're going for the medals.
have the records, but I don't have the medals, so we're going to chase the medals.
Jacqueline Chepkoech will lead the Kenya's charge in the women's 3,000 meter steeplechase alongside Celestine Chespoi and Karen Chebet. Team Kenya will be aiming to defend the overall title after emerging victorious in the last edition held in 2018 in Asaba, Nigeria.
Now over to Embu County. 14 teams have confirmed participation in the 5th edition of the Embu Sevens rugby tournament that will be played this weekend at Njukere Showground, Embu County. Defending champions Menengai Oilers, runners-up Top Fry Nakuru, KCB Batuk, Nondescript, Mean Machine, Masinda Muliro, Catholic Monks, Mwamba, USIU, Marshals and Black Blood are some of the top teams expected to grace this particular event.
Championship sides Embu RFC, Meru RFC, Kiambu RFC and Rongai Morans will join the event as teams seek to gauge their strength ahead of the 7A season, which kicks off on May 21st. Embu Rugby chairman Moses Mukabane said they were excited to roll out the event following a 3-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic and guaranteed a family-friendly show. Mukabane hailed the growth of the sport in the Mount Kenya region, saying the tournament will boost rugby's increasing popularity.
Hii tournament pia itaruhusu some of the high schools to come and watch, ili as we go back to sports itasaidia even the community. But as per now, rugby haijarudishwa high school, but we'll be having a different category, I think, starting on Friday, so that we turudishe rugby kidogo mtaani.
Defending champions Menengai Oilers, runners-up Top Fry Nakuru, KCB, Batuk, Nondescript, Machine, Masinda Muliro, Catholic Monks, Mwamba, USIU Martyrs and Black Blood are some of the top teams expected to grace the event.
Now, talking about sports, there's a lot of excitement here in studio with the crew. Some of them planning to attend that particular feat that is going to be taking place in Embu County this weekend. So, indeed, it is a plan, especially now that you're talking about, revamping or rather leapfrogging the economy and sports. And as far as sports is concerned, it's one sector that is usually overlooked but generates a lot of income, especially if it's out of town in terms of the businesses that bloom during this particular sporting events. Now, talking about sports, let's go international, and I know Liverpool fans there. In as far as the first half of the game yesterday must have been very tense for them. Why? This is because Villarreal had brought on their best game, so to speak. So that particular game between Villarreal and Liverpool ended on a 2-3 score, with Liverpool scoring 3 against Villarreal. That put up quite the show in the first half there, but on aggregate Liverpool sailed through against 5 points against Villarreal and 2 for Villarreal there. So today's fixture, and that is where things are. And as far as rubber meets the road, we're going to be having Real Madrid taking on Manchester City. Yes, you heard it. That's the game that we're going to be looking out for tonight at 10 p.m. Taking you back to that particular game, what happened between Villarreal and those that never walk alone, that is Liverpool. Sadio Mane was picked as the best player of that particular match. You can be sure we'll not fail to mention about Manchester United's game with Brentford on over the weekend, the long holiday, so to speak. Well, indeed, we put up a fight despite it getting a bit tense. We are happy that Fernandes made that score when he did, as well as the assists that we saw. So we'll be keeping tabs on that and so much more, including what is happening on our local scene in as far as matters sports are concerned. Just to remind you that Embu County is going to be holding a rugby event this weekend, so do plan to attend. That is part of sports tourism. Why not? Tembea Kenya. That brings a cap to Matters News this morning. Further details are available on our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. For now, we take a quick breather and we'll be back with what is in the dailies.
give him our blessings, okay?
Blessings? What about me then?
Shannon, don't go. I won't allow you to ruin Windsor and Pinky's wedding.
No, I must stop them right now. I must stop them now.
You're Shannon, aren't you? How come?
Right. I'm not dead. I'm still alive.
Yuko wapi?
Yuko ndani, bado daktari anamwangalia.
Na huyu mwanamke sitaki kumuona hapa.
Kawaida ya mwanamke anayemjali mtoto wake hukuwa katika hali hii wakati kama huu.
Mnaelewa vizuri sana ni sababu gani ambayo inatufanya tukae chini hapa pamoja.
Nice try. Oh no, sweetheart. I was not trying.
So watakuniacha ma?
Nipe sababu ya kubaki na wewe.
All right, straight on to the headlines, what we have on our front page of our local dailies. Let me start with the Star newspaper. Eyes on Kalonzo as Raila deputy selection begins. Eyes on Kalonzo as Raila deputy selection begins. Allies insist that he does not need to be interviewed for the role. I'll give you more details to that story shortly. Tifa survey puts Raila Odinga ahead of Ruto in Nairobi, Makueni and Mombasa. According to the poll, whose findings were released yesterday, shows that Raila is leading in Nairobi with 41% against DP Ruto, who is second with 26%. In Nairobi, Raila's ODM is the most popular political party, in which 26%, while Ruto's UDA comes second with 22%. In position 3 is President Uhuru Kenyatta's Jubilee Party with 5% support. However, some of 44% of the city dwellers are yet to decide which party to support. And also on the front page here, MP Sankok was questioned by the DCI over son's suicide. That is a story that is still unfolding, and we'll get more details when and how we get it. All right, Ranbaga, Kibaki scolded anti-accord aides in my presence. That is according to former U.S. Ambassador Michael Ranbaga, who said that he witnessed former President Mwai Kibaki reprimand his advisors who opposed the 2007-2008 deal with ODM boss Raila Odinga. Ranbaga served in the country between 2006 and 2011 and was a U.S. pointman during the deadly 2007 post-election violence that claimed lives of over 1,000 people. Story worth reading. Court delays weaken extrajudicial killings cases. According to lobby groups, they say that the activists say that lengthy litigations set up cases for police abuse for failure, as witnesses often forget their accounts after waiting too long to testify. So they are asking the judiciary to expedite the cases that are still pending in court. There's a story here. Robbers raid Naivasha petrol station and loot over 300,000 bob. It said that they terrorized the attendants for over 3 hours. That was on Sunday. The 6 suspects who were dressed in police jackets first locked the workers in a store near Kayole Shopping Center before breaking into the office and looting the cash and electronics. The keyword here is 3 hours. And finally, all eyes on Kalonzo as Raila running mate vetting begins. It is said that snubbing the interviewing panel, analysts believe that would technically knock Kalonzo out of the contention. Yet, he would also be seen to be desperate if he showed up for the interviews. Whatever position Kalonzo takes in the next 6 days would either make or break his political career. His allies insist that he does not need to be interviewed for the role. How this is going to pan out is an interesting bit. So let me give you some of the possible running mates. We have got Peter Kenneth, Martha Karua, Kalonzo Musyoka, Lee Kinyanjui, Sabina Chege, Alfred Mutua, and finally Peter Munya. Who will be the ultimate winner? More details later on. Jen.
Now, let me just pick it up from that point concerning the question about the next DP. It is actually the main read here on the front page of the Daily Nation, and pictured therein just but a few of the names that you have mentioned. And that story has been covered across 5 pages here on this particular daily. And they've gone ahead to just focus on each individual and just give a rundown of their credentials, the experience, what they have done over the years in the political space, mind you, looking at the Azimio side of the divide, as well as the Kenya Kwanza Alliance potential DP, and of course the running mate, which we're hoping will be named in the next few days. But that is the main read here. And, they go on to say that, one of these men and women could become Kenya's next deputy president in less than 100 days to come. And as the front runners of these particular parties and coalitions, as they are going about to just deciding on who will be their running mate, little is known about these aspirants. So who are they? And that is what they have gone ahead to just give you a breakdown and the background of these individuals, which I'll be giving you in just a bit. Again, the story concerning Sankok's son has also been featured here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Here they go on to say that Sankok's son, killed in gun incident, had refused to go back to school. But once you get to read that story, you will get to read the daughter's account. That is Rosemary Naserian Sankok, the firstborn daughter of Honorable Sankok. She's 21 years old. She gave her account of the incidents that happened, but she goes on to clarify that the brother, that is Memusi Sankok, aged 15, had issues with going back to school, but they were able to talk it out, and he agreed to go back to school. And after that, they were said to have gone to the family's resort, only to arrive at the gate and be met by one of their relatives saying that, an incident has happened at home and the dad needed to go back home. That story has been covered in great detail here. And of course, the DCI also clarified. Whew, I am back. They also clarified that Sankok was not summoned. They just got his account of the whole incident, recorded a statement at his home, and they are still investigating how the son was able to access the safe, the gun which was said to have been in a safe where it was stored. However, it is expected that investigations are still ongoing and that an autopsy will be done by today, and then the funeral arrangements can proceed after that. So that is what has been captured in regards to that story here on the front page of the Daily Nation. Again, matters entertainment with the Met Gala having happened this weekend. And finally, court face-off after police bosses ignore order to reinstate pay. That is the front page of the Daily Nation this morning. Doreen.
What was stories ahead and prior given the fact that it's only 2 weeks away up until every presidential candidate gets to submit the names of their running mates. And also this happens at a time whereby the Wiper Party is saying that the party leader will not be present in those interviews. In fact, they're actually saying that the representative who is in that 7-member that is supposed to conduct this interview, they are actually planning to remove their representative from that 7 members that are supposed to conduct this interview. So really, will the party leader go ahead in going for these interviews, or will he withdraw, just as what the party is saying? Because part of also what they are saying is that this is demeaning for Kalonzo, given his experience. He's also been a deputy vice president before, and again, looking at his history when it comes to politics.
Also, again, much of what they're saying is that when it comes to Raila Odinga as the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance flag bearer, he didn't apply for this position. So then why are they subjecting these other running mates to apply for the running mates position? So even as this is happening, Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu is saying that she is also best suited for this position if they are going to choose a running mate from the Ukambani region. And when we get the details, I'll be telling you particularly why she is saying that, again, also drawing back to history and what she has done. Remember, she's also vied for presidency before. And away from that, transition to secondary school begins. As we had mentioned earlier, this is beginning today. And what the ministry is saying that out of the 1 million candidates who sat for the 2021 KCPE exams, the ministry will ensure that all of these candidates will actually get a placement to secondary school. This is in line with the 100% transition to secondary schools. And again, also going by that particular poll by TIFA, which shows that 53% of city dwellers are undecided on who they would want to elect as their leaders when it comes to president, governor, senator, as well as the women representative. And lastly, 20 MPs on support of a constituency fund. That is the national government CDF fund. Among these MPs include Westlands Tim Wanyonyi, there's Rarieda Otiende Amolo, as well as Nyali's Mohammed Ali. Part of what they're being accused of is the irregular disbursement of these funds, unscrupulous cash withdrawals, there's unsupported projects, amongst many other things that they're being accused of. Regina.
Copy of the Standard. Quite a replica of what is happening, or rather what the other scribes have captured as top stories, being Wednesday, the 4th of 2022. So it's matters of choosing a running mate. There's a lot of conversation, and analysts will tell you that it's quite a quagmire that presidential candidates find themselves in it. Reports indicate that with over 47 independent contenders and several others under parties, IEBC and security agencies stare at a logistical headache on ballot paper listing and protection of over 100 candidates and running mates. That's a quagmire as far as IEBC is concerned. Now, talking about choosing the running mate, especially for Deputy President William Ruto and former Premier Raila Odinga, who are all presidential aspirants flying the flag for their various, we have Azimio la Umoja there, One Kenya, that is a search for Raila Odinga's running mate. And it's proving to be a headache. The team there has already been selected, 7 of them, and Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka has thrown the spanner into the works and saying it's demeaning for them to even consider that he might be showing up for that particular interview. The intricate details are going to be made, it's going to be an open conversation, inviting your feedback soon as we speak Matters Politics with Victor in not too long. Then crossing over stories that have made the headlines also in this particular front page, we're talking about the impact that world-class events as the Safari World-Class Rally, as well as Keep Kano now has become a class event where we had international athletes taking place. So it has found itself on the front page. We're going to be giving you details as we proceed. We also have a special coverage in this particular daily that goes further to detail the farms that rose and fell with the Kibaki regime. Well, since last week by 1 on Friday, when Kenyans woke up to the news that we had lost the third president, and that is the late Mwai Kibaki there, it's been quite a week of eulogizing a man who's been termed as astute and a patient gentleman who had matters of economy and Kenyans at heart during his tenure back in December 2002 all the way to 2013. Also credit to him that he steered the country to transition from the old constitution to the new constitution in 2010. 10. So that is a special piece that has been captured in this particular daily. And the back page, you can bet it's all about what is happening in the international soccer scene, highlighting the upcoming game tonight that is between Real and Real Madrid there and Manchester City. We're talking about, the La Liga champions, and these ones have come from behind twice this season against PSG and Chelsea. Are we going to be seeing a replica of this tonight at 10 p.m.? Well, your guess is as good as mine. We can only wait and see. That's just but a summary of what the scribes have given precedence in this particular paper this morning. Victor.
All right. Let's continue. And on the Star, Ugenya family barely surviving after gruesome murder of father. At the time of his killing, his second wife was heavily pregnant with their fourth child, and it said that the incident was reported at Ukwala police station under OB 18. That's 18th day of June 2020. The postmortem report, which was conducted at Sega Mission Hospital, showed that he died as a result of severe head injury due to sharp penetrating wound. The only thing which was found next to the body was his bicycle and a piece of bar soap, which was his promise to his children who were to report to school. And the case still continues. 6 suspected cattle rustlers arrested in Isinya a day after farmers called for the removal of the Isinya police commander over livestock theft. 6 suspected rustlers have been arrested. It is reported that the suspects were arrested as they tried to sell a stolen cow at the Isinya slaughterhouse at 7 a.m. after they failed to prove ownership. This must end. You pushed your deputy out of government. UDA tells Uhuru. Kiharu MP Ndindi Nyoro says that they campaigned for the duo, but they were later sidelined. According to Ndindi Nyoro, President Kenyatta was just expressing his frustrations and should not be the case. On Labor Day, the president accused DP Ruto of being an absentee leader who has instead been focusing on inciting the public against his government, saying that he should have resigned to allow him to pick another deputy who would help him to run the government. But in a quick rejoinder, the MP said that it is dishonest of the president to make the accusations when he is the one that chased Ruto out of government. The blame game. Interesting. As that is happening, Ruto starts 5-day tour of Nyanza and Western Kenya, and according to the program, Ruto will on Wednesday visit, will be in Kisii on Wednesday before crossing to the neighboring Nyamira. And on Wednesday, the DP will be in Busia County. Kenya Kwanza will be in Busia County on Friday, where he will be hosted by CAS Ababu Namwamba. And on Saturday, the Ruto's team will tour Bungoma and hold an economic forum at the Nzoia guest house before holding rallies in Busia and Vihiga. And on Sunday, the DP's campaign entourage will be in Trans Nzoia for an economic forum, and thereafter a series of public rallies at Moi Bridge. That will be in Trans Nzoia. And finally, Raila leads Ruto in 3 counties, says Tifa Paul, which actually we've covered here for you. That was in Makueni, Mombasa and Nairobi counties. Not yet Uhuru for 44 independent candidates. A record number of 44 independent candidates. And as we speak, IEBC so far have received 7,212 aspirants in total. That's from the governor seat, member of county assembly, MP, as well as women rep and senators. 7,712 candidates in total. A number that analysts say that if you look at the ballot paper, how it would look like on that material day, it will be something to smile about. You can imagine, Jen, you went to 7,000 candidates. In one particular country, you have got 6 women representatives. You have got 7 senators. MPs, members of county assembly, it will take a voter like 20 minutes.
And this goes back to the whole conversation about direct nomination.
Right.
You know, for so many people, they're like, we don't really understand all this direct nomination, its importance or its significance, but then again, it boils down to some of these numbers. And that story has also been featured here. 46 State House hopefuls, 44 independent, and of course, the two that are well considered. You know, it was considered a two-man or a two-horse race.
Until
now it is 46. And their names are going to be gazetted and, of course, made public by the 13th of May after they get to go through a rigorous scrutiny by the IEBC. And this was officially confirmed by the Registrar of Political Parties, Anne DeRitu. So 46 eyeing the top job. And of course, they were, confirmed on the basis that they are actually individuals who are not members of any political party, being independent. And they also were required to acquire at least 2,000 voter signatures in 24 of the 47 counties. So you can imagine if all 46 of them did manage to go through this process, we are yet to see who these are, their names and their faces. By the 13th of May, we will know who they are. Now, still keeping up with politics, Ngilu joins the growing list of likely running mates, all right? So Ngilu is seen as a likely replacement for Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, who is staking out a rather aggressive, and that's the word that has been used here, an aggressive claim for the same seat. So Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu is the latest entrant in the race for the second in command, and of course still in possibly could be Kenya's first female deputy president. So according to a highly placed source in Azimio, Ms. Ngilu's name was on Monday submitted to the panel, and joining, of course, the list that included Peter Kenneth, Martha Karua, Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho, as well as Peter Munya, and these are all the ones that are expected to, you know, compete for this particular seat in the Azimio side of the divide. And looking at the Kenya Kwanza, of course, the names still remain to be Kithure Kindiki. We also have Justin Muturi, Anne Waiguru, Rigathi Gachagua, and all of whom are from the Mount Kenya region, which commands a 5.8 million vote block. Now, according to this particular daily, they've gone ahead to give these individuals a title or a name or a sentence that sort of describes who they are. And here they start with Kalonzo. Here they go on to that Caesar demands, Kalonzo now orders his restless troops. That is a statement that defines his current position, you know, as a man who is commanding a restless troop. They go on to look at Munya. He has been termed as a go-getter who could, and the question being could, unite Mount Kenya East and Mount Kenya West. When it comes to Peter Kenneth, today I'm on a roll. Peter Kenneth, when it comes to him, he has to weather the UDA storm and fight perceptions that he's an elitist, all right? Shed off that perception that people think he's an elitist in order to just sort of be the potential vice president. When it comes to Martha Karua, her past as human rights defender is a plus, all right? Now comes in Waiguru. Gender and the Mount Kenya card favors her running mate quest. Speaker Muturi, he is the third most, he's sort of third in command when it comes to ranking in the country after the president and the deputy president. And here they go on to say, Speaker Muturi hopes to jump from third to second in the line of succession. Can he do so? Well, finally, we have Rigathi, who banks on loyalty and civil service experience to help him become the deputy president. All of them have been given some sort of ideology of who they are. And also, finally, we have Mudavadi, whose backers are still keen to have him deputize the current deputy president, William Ruto, should he ascend to presidency on the 9th of August this year. Well, finally, they go on to describe Kindiki as the pacifier that the forceful DP needs Kindiki as the pacifier. the pacifier, the one who calms things down. You know, when you think of a pacifier, you just think of a baby. So when you know what it does for a baby, so that's what they go on to describe him by. Looking at this particular daily, you can go ahead and read all this. Has been covered from page 4 through to page 9 of this particular daily, and of course closing it with the 46 State House hopefuls as they prepare for IEBC scrutiny and rigorous scrutiny that will be happening, and of course their names being made public on the 13th of May. Doreen.
All right, and just as you talked about the number of independent candidates, there's a article well fleshed out on the PD this morning that just well establishes the scramble for the State House job as well as various other elective positions, at least for this year's general election, whereby it's citing that this is actually the year whereby they, there has been rather a huge turnout when it comes to persons vying for elective positions, with over 7,000. Just trying to compare that with 2017, where there was about over 4,000 candidates, and this year alone it has attracted over 7,000. Out of this, the 47 that you mentioned running for independent position, running independent for the top position, and there's 9 persons in coalitions, again, running for the top job. Well, when you look at what also political pundits are saying is that, well, some of these persons, particularly also those just trying to vie in the independent ticket, good number of them are just trying to seek popularity, because of what some are saying is that people don't know them. They've not even had their names before. When it comes to discussing or even talking about national issues in this country, they haven't been there. So then how are they coming at this point just vying for this position? But then again, remember that this is actually a right for anyone who wants to vie for such kind of positions. So when that is happening, there's this article that rightly also puts it why Charity Ngilu says that she is best fit to be the running mate for Raila Odinga, and part of what is coming out is that she says that her history in politics goes back to 1997, where she became the first woman to vie for presidency on the Social Democratic Party. She also says that she fought alongside Raila in the opposition to remove KANU's one-party tyrannical rule, and so amongst other reasons is why she says that if at all they will go ahead and choose a running mate from the Ukambani region, then she is best suit for that compared to Kalonzo Musyoka. So even as this is happening, remember that there are also various factors that are being considered or to be considered when choosing a running mate. There's the question of votes in terms of the kind of votes that a candidate is bringing to the basket, and this is why you've seen a lot of persons from the Wiper Party really complaining and saying that it is not correct to subject Kalonzo to this kind of interviews, given the kind of votes that he brings to the basket. That's just what some are saying. There's the question of gender. You can remember that the other day the IEBC talked about the 2/3 gender rule and how some parties perhaps might be subjected to repercussions if at all they do not meet this. There's the question of ethnicity, or if you be the regional outlook. Again, remember that also in the constitution there's that preserve whereby the executive needs to have a regional outlook. So simply what that means is that if the president is from one region, then the vice president or the deputy needs to be from another region. So again, there's also that factor, and we cannot forget that the politics of this country in one way or another, or largely, they are ethnic based. And again, also there's that factor of experience. In essence, just trying to say that in the event the president might be in any form of incapacity to perhaps hold that office for a certain reason, then the vice or the deputy president needs to be able to hold that office. So that, again, there's also that factor of experience coming out amongst a host of other reasons to be considered, even when it comes to choosing a running mate. So also, again, as I had mentioned earlier, the deadline is still set there for in the next 2 weeks, that is by May 16th. All these candidates need to have submitted the names of their running mate as at that time. And also, one of the other things that is really coming out, particularly when it comes to the Wiper Party, is that they're now saying that they have also suspended the campaigns for the Azimio presidential candidate Raila Odinga up until they actually get this slot. And remember that also these interviews have begun today, and they're expected to end on the May of 10th, that is next week, Tuesday. So which way will it be, particularly on this coalition, when it comes to choosing of a running mate? Regina.
We will be keeping tabs on that, definitely, with this moved by Kalonzo Musyoka there, saying that that particular interview will be demeaning to him in as far as his experience and stature in matters politics. Now, another headache is brewing for the IEBC. Why? This that, with the official campaign period for the general election set for May 29th and culminating 2 days before the general elections, there's also another challenge is that now the 53 presidential aspirants, if they will be cleared, there will be they're looking at confusion of the symbols for parties and the independent candidates. 53 presidential aspirants there. If they're all cleared, what symbols will be used, especially for the independent candidate? My question is, do we know this 47? I can pick a name or two among the lists that have been printed in this particular issue. We have Wawero Joseph Mbogwa. He's an aspirant, presidential hopeful there, actually aspirant there for the August 9th elections. We have Peter Solomuzi, David Muhia, Nixon Kukobo, and a familiar name is Wanjigi Harrison Njoroge. I'm sure you've heard much about them, but a majority of these names sound very unfamiliar to Kenyans. Now, the headache that IEBC is staring at is that, there's the issue of security that should be accorded to these presidential aspirants. And this is according to the Constitution. And also, these presidential candidates are expected to be registered voter and meet the moral and ethical requirements. Further on, it's also a good thing, though, if you look at the other side, and rather in hindsight, having this huge number of presidential aspirants, there is that candidates are required to pay a nomination fee of 200,000 shillings and 100,000 shillings for an aspirant who is a youth, a woman, or a person living with disability. Now, this is going to be something. As by yesterday, 7,112 aspirants had been cleared to vie for the August 9th general election. And now, beside the 47, 106 have been given a green light to vie for the governor's seat, 147 to seek the Senate seat, 110 woman representative position, 958 members of parliament, and 5,845 for MCAs. When I see these numbers, I remember the conversation ahead of the budget presentation there, is that IEBC was coming to say that, we are underfunded. And for us to actually conduct a free, fair, transparent process, our budget has to be met. And we saw the allocations that went to it during the proposed budget 2022-2023, and a huge sum actually went to matters of the security and also to enable IEBC there to conduct their elections in a free and fair environment. 44 independent, actually 47 independent aspirants had been cleared to vie for the presidency. Still keeping up with matters politics is that you did not inform us or consult us when you are dropping out of the gubernatorial race. What am I talking about? This is happening in Mombasa County, and this follows businessman Suleiman Shabal's announcement during the Eid Baraza in Mombasa that he will not be running for the governor's position under the as an independent, but rather has backed ODM Abdul Swamad Nasir's bid there for the top seat within the county. Now, some 60,000 voters led by Selina Maither, who Shabal had picked as a running mate, had signed a petition seeking him to vie as the presidential, as an independent candidate in that gubernatorial race there in Mombasa. So all eyes are going to be looking at what is going to come off the interviews that begin today, as Azimio la Umoja, One Kenya Alliance, seeks to find a running mate for Raila Odinga. So much is happening in the political scene, but that is going to be put into perspective in not too long. Victor.
All right. I think that's where we wrap it up. And on to the next program. We're taking a break, but when we come back, so much lined up for you. I wanted to read for you your stars today, but I decided to leave it at that.
It is well.
It is well. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Does this mean you are now seeing eye to eye?
Tito, what kind of a question is that? Si wanaonana macho kwa macho.
Class, I want to say that Mr. Fritsch and I, we have decided to put our differences aside.
You want to be one campaign manager? You messed me in my dream. You want to mess me again? Stupid.
Kinyanju niko fresh, very fresh. Wacha nikwambie Kinyanju. Unajua umoja ni nguvu, utengana ni utaifa.
Bibi acha niendelea kutegana. Wewe hebu nipe shughuli, niko very busy. I am very very busy. Wewe wasiana kunisumbua ate business partner na makopa yangu.
So guys, let me tell you.
Classmate.
Bad. Man a pit bull, you know, hear them a put one style away.
All right, welcome. This is Good Morning Kenya on KBC Channel 1, of course, coming to you from County 038, Vihiga County. It's cold, beautiful, green. If you've not been to this county, then I don't know where you are or what you're doing with yourself. Come to Vihiga County. So much in plenty for you. I have a gentleman here, the CEO of this county, Governor Wilberforce Otichilo. Governor, thank you so much for your time. It's a beautiful place.
You are welcome.
Yes.
And thank you for those compliments about
Of course, because by the time of walking in, the environment itself is very far from Nairobi, but there's a very big difference.
It is true. Vihiga is a small county, but as you have clearly said, very beautiful.
Yes.
We have very nice people who are very welcoming, and generally the environment is conducive.
Yes. Because when you talk of the conducive environment, there is a function happening as we speak, making the youth to realize their talent, just to exploit themselves and make sure that they know who they are. What's the main aim for this, Governor?
The ongoing youth extravaganza is an activity that my government initiated last year. The first youth extravaganza, we had it last year in May, and it was very successful. And we thought that that we should continue. It should be a yearly event. And therefore, despite of this year being election year, we decided that we must have the extravaganza and specifically to use the youth, their artistic expression and acting, to use those to preach peace and harmony during this election, and specifically to focus on sustainable development, because as this planet requires sustainable development, and therefore that's the theme we have for this year, and I'm very excited about it, because unlike last year, the reports I have, and I have very good reports here, it's a report, 2 of them, they are indicating that this year's extravaganza is well improved in terms of organization, in terms of auditions that were done, and the performance and the involvement of the youth has been enhanced, and there's a lot of interest in the extravaganza. So I'm very happy, and also as a county, from last year's experience, we felt that we need to increase the budget. Because last year we had a small budget of about 2 million shillings, and we had a lot of challenges. So this year we decided that we increase the budget to 3 million, and so far that 1 extra million has made great impact. So I want to say that we are very happy. And our youth also are extremely, very interested in this program. And I want to compliment the committee, because the committee that is organizing this extravaganza is a committee of youth. And the committee
They're taking charge.
They are taking charge, and they are very active and very enthusiastic. And that's what makes me happy. So this function, or this extravaganza, is very good. And by the way, Vihiga is a home of talents.
It's not shocking, because when you come to Western Kenya, the great talents that is being harnessed from this particular region of Kenya is we cannot be avoided. Talk of the great footballers of this country.
They come from. Kadenge's place is just across here. We we can even take you to the grave. It's not far away from here.
So it's not shocking they're talking about talent in Vihiga.
Vihiga is a county of great talent and culture.
What does it mean to you, Governor?
It means a lot. When you have a county that has a lot of talent, and particularly music, in the whole country, Vihiga is a leader.
I was a trainer at Vihiga Boys
in music. You were at Vihiga High School?
I was their trainer, I know.
Music is our key talent. So I am a very proud and happy governor to be a governor of my county, where talent of our youth is exemplary. And therefore, we want, one of my key goal is to build and promote these talents, so that we in Vihiga, these talents have been there for many years, but they have not been enhanced. The people who had those talents have never benefited. Daud Kabaka, his home is just across here. It's not here at Shemahoho here. Peter Jensen, his home is here. All these musicians you had, who is who, they come from this county.
So you're just promoting something you were very well conversant about.
Yes, even when I was a kid, I saw all this. We used to go to dance, when there are funerals, we would go to dance, and there would be all this dancing. In fact, we used somebody to die so that we can go and dance. So it's a very good. And then, by the way, my biggest resource in this county is the youth. Is the human resource and the youth. 60%, 60 to 70% of people residing in Vihiga are youth. Those that are between, let's say, 18 and 35. They are youth.
When you talk about the youth, and because that's basically the overall outlook in the whole country.
Yes.
60 to 70% of the general voters are youth. But then you are harnessing that particular talent in this particular county, Governor. And you see when you talk even the president is quite passionate about the youth.
Yeah.
The CBC is in place right now.
CBC is all about youth, and I'm happy when I was in Parliament, I was one of the members in the Committee of Education who worked and approved CBC as a new curriculum.
Tell me about that, because I was coming to that.
Okay, I can tell you a CBC curriculum is a curriculum that focuses on enhancing individuals' talents, individuals' likings, rather than the normal academic curriculum, which puts people in a straitjacket. You're put in a straitjacket that you must learn. If it's history, you must learn the history.
Exactly.
If it is physics, you must learn physics. Whether your head accepts physical theories or not, you are forced. But it's, with the CBC curriculum, it gives a child from kindergarten, from nursery, the opportunity for them to explore nature, explore their talent, and from their actions, from their likings, you can see that this baby or this child has an interest.
Right.
Those who are good at singing, they will start singing, even at the kindergarten. Those who love acting will do that. Those who love academic, there are also those who just love
concentrate on that.
Academic. You will see that even if you tell them go and sing, they are not singing. But when you tell them now, can you write this? Those who are artists, who want, let's say, they can draw.
Right.
You will see them anytime they see something, they are drawing.
Exactly.
So CBC is a very good curriculum program. When we were in the Parliament, I was in the Committee of Education. We even went to Israel to see benchmark. And I can tell you, we went, me, I'm a scientist, we went to a science park where they demonstrate all these complex theories, Archimedes principles, Newton principles. They show them in the simplest way, the application, how they are applied, and you get amazed that those who are interested in science, they can see the application. You see people they hate mathematics because they don't understand the theory about mathematics. People think mathematics is just about additions, adding, making things complicated. But each of that mathematical expressions or mathematical designs are solving a problem. So if you are told, for example, you are in school, you are taught about photosynthesis.
Yes.
But you are never told why photosynthesis is important. People are just told, okay, you see, you have to have photosynthesis, the one that makes things grow, and so on. But they do not relate that without photosynthesis, there is no food.
Governor, you're taking back the class.
Without photosynthesis, the life or the oxygen we are talking will not be available for you. So it is the way of teaching that has made teaching very complex. But when you go to developed countries like Israel, teaching is something that people love. Children want to go to school because they understand. We were taught in school about a pulley system. The pulley system. But you are not told why this pulley system important. But I can tell you, everything that moves it works on a pulley system.
So
even the Africans, we had a pulley system. If you want to pull something, you tie on and you put a rope and you take up. You want to bring water from down, you put that. They put a wood, a bar across the hole. They put a hole. So even Africans, we knew all this science. There is no science an African didn't know. All the science that we know today, the theories, our ancestors knew that science very well. But they didn't know how to write it. But they the application they need.
And that's why CBC...
Even conservation.
Yes.
Our ancestors knew very well they had shrines, forests, which nobody would touch them. Like me, I come from a rain-making community. There were shrines in my community where nobody would walk there. It's only men, elders, who could go there. So they knew about conservation. You could not cut a tree without authority from the elders. But we see, later on, all those things were destroyed. They were said they are an African, Africans are primitive, and therefore the world gap. But we are going back. Let me tell you for sure. You know, when you talk about science, I can talk the whole day. You know, today, people are talking about organic agriculture. That's what our ancestors did. We didn't use, fertilizers, these inorganic fertilizers, which are destroying the soils. Our people used fertilizers from cow dung. You know, when I was in school, we were taught about mulching.
Yes.
How you get all this waste from house, from where you put it in a pit, and then you cover, and within 2 or 3 months, it's converted. You put earthworms in it. And within 3 months, it is fertilizer, and it's the one you use for growing. Are we not going back to the same? So we're just going back where we came from.
So you're so much interested in CBC?
CBC to me is very good.
How do you connect the two and the talent you're trying to harness?
You know, they are directly and proportionally connected. In fact, they are directly connected. Because CBC is about developing talents, getting talents from various be it students or children and so on. So there is a direct relationship of CBC and what we are doing in youth extravaganza or developing youth performing arts. So there is a direct relationship. And that's why for me, I can tell you, once CBC is through the first circle, you will see the impact. The impact is going to be great. And it's when this country will start producing people who can be able to develop various sectors of the economy. Because they will be there, not that they are being paid, but they will be there because they have passion. You know, when you have passion on anything, you don't need to be paid.
You will do it.
You will do it. You know?
Yes.
When I was doing my research, once I'm on my research, I spent many hours in my room trying to read, to make sure the theory I put, the scientific theory I put, am I going to prove it right or no? So I believe CBC is the best go. And you know very well, when you are studying or something that is unique, is different, we have challenges. So when people say that, oh, we were not prepared, when do you get prepared? If you want to start something, you must start it. You must start walking the talk. And as you meet challenges, you solve them. So I get surprised when I hear educationists say, no, we were not prepared. There's no way you can say, I'm now 100% prepared. Now I can start. You start. Then as you meet the challenges, you solve them. And that's what he is doing, and that's why I like Magoha. You know, he's a bulldozer, moving things. Because if you want to bring change in this country, you must have bulldozers. People say this must happen. You must have the Matiangis. When Matiang came in, people were stealing examination. He just said it can't happen. When he was there, he was in the ICT. You people had stuck on analog. Matiang said we must go to digital. People made the noise. He switched off the TVs and your radios, the radio transmitters. You had to move. So that's how life is. But when you have people who are saying, you know, oh no, let's wait, let's talk, let's prepare. These are people who are not action oriented.
He seems so passionate about order and action. Is that how you do it in your county?
Ask my people here. Me, I don't believe in a talk. I believe in action. Let's do things. And let me tell you, the best teacher is being doing what experimenting. Anybody who fears experiment cannot move. And me, I believe in failure. When you try something that failed, then you know the answer.
It's okay. It's okay to fail.
Yes, failure is part of the success. When you fail, you tried something and you failed. It means you did something. So whatever you get, we call it failure. But probably we call it failure because it didn't achieve what you wanted to achieve.
Yes.
But by that failure, you have learned why you failed. And therefore you have now an answer why you should do the right thing to succeed.
And that is the same thing, Governor, when you talk about failure, there are certain things that you did not achieve as a county government. And yet we are going to the next election.
In fact,
so do you say that you failed? Do you accept?
Where there are many places where we have failed.
Right.
And there are many places where we have excelled. And that's what life is. There's no way you can say in life everything will work. It can never. So for me, there are many, if you ask me, as a governor, I'll tell you there are many things we have failed.
What are the achievements? Let me start with the achievements. Perhaps 3 or 4. That's quite close to your heart.
Yeah, those close to my heart. First is health.
Health.
I think if you look on my manifesto, I said health was an area because I believe if people are healthy,
yes,
then they can go out to do their own business. They can go out and create their wealth.
Yes. Yes.
So for me, healthcare is priority number 1.
Right.
When I came on ground, when I came, we had hospitals. They didn't have drugs. They didn't have nurses. They didn't have clinical officers. They didn't have equipment. I can tell you for the last 1.5 years, I've equipped my 74 health facilities in this country. I've equipped them. I have employed staff. And they are working. I've made sure that the drugs are available. Go to any health facility in this country.
Yes.
There are drugs.
How did you handle Corona?
I can tell you we did extremely well. And in the Western Kenya region, we had the lowest incidences of Corona.
Yes.
And we had even a whole Corona hospital here of about 100 beds. We only had about 5 or 6 clients. The rest, the beds are still there. Even if you want to go there, the beds are still spread, nicely, but they didn't have clients. Why? We took a strategy which other counties didn't took. We have what we call CHVs, in community health volunteers.
Right.
When I came in, I only found 400 health CHVs. I decided that for us to deal with health, most of the diseases are diseases that are caused
down at the community level.
At the community level.
Yes.
So if you have the community people at the level there, at the community level, telling people the right thing. By the way, most of the diseases are just common hygiene.
Right.
Yes. So me, I believe in public health. Common hygiene. If people have clean water, they have clean environment, they clean their utensils.
Yes.
They wash their hands before they eat. They wash their hands after they come from the toilet. All these diseases will not be there.
Okay.
So I spent more time.
Yes.
I've employed now 1,460 CHVs. And during Corona, we trained them and we took them out there to tell people they must keep hygiene. They must keep the protocols of COVID-19, washing of hands. In fact, they had already been doing that.
Yes.
So when it came in that you must wash your hands, you must do this, it was just something that
you did well, Governor. Yes. The second achievement.
The second achievement, I will tell you, is in education. You know, I love education.
Right.
I have passion in education. We decided that we need to have, first of all, we are allowed by constitution to deal with the TVET,
yes,
vocational training centers.
Do you have any?
When I came in, there were only 5 operational vocational training centers.
And currently?
Currently, there are 32.
Good one.
From 5 to 32. Even the 5 I got, they didn't have equipment.
But Governor, it could be 32, but they're not well equipped. That's the problem.
Let me tell you. So you
walk in some of these
let me tell you. So you are here.
Yes.
As you go to the place of the extravaganza, can you pass Kevehe? It is at Majengo there. Just go there. I'm inviting you. Go there. You will even be given, there is even a beauty parlor. They will reward, if you want your nails to be cut, you are to look nice, the way
we will
pass there are girls there, where we have beauty therapy. And all these things, electrical, mechanical, they are all there. I can tell you, we have the 32 are well equipped. We have now put instructors. There were no instructors. And where that instructors were, they were not being paid. We have done that.
When you talk of TVET, Governor, because when you hear the national government, the president is quite, again, interested in terms of having the TVET, because there are no white-collar jobs right now.
Yes, there are no white-collar
jobs. And when you
jobs.
have got TVET in the community level, in the county level, then most of these people who are not able to go to the university will go to the TVET.
Yes.
How are you going to make sure that in the next coming government, if you are elected again into office, then you're going to move from 32 to another different number, probably 64?
No, I don't need now. In fact, what we have done, basically, we have almost put a TVET, a vocational training center, almost in every ward.
So you're good to go?
We have 25 wards. Me, what I want to do now is to equip those vocational training centers and even add more equipment, add more courses, add more instructors. I don't want to also just have numbers. I want quality. And I can tell you, as a county, we are putting 15,000 shillings for every student who goes to our vocational training centers. They don't pay fees. There was the old colonial character or the old fashion character that even in Tibet, people must go with the uniform. When I came in, I abolished uniform. I said, people who go to vocational training centers are adults. So why should you give them uniform? So we abolished the uniform. There's no uniform. Only you go there just with a clean attire. Just be like the way we were and study.
Your third achievement, Governor.
I still want to tell you education. Education is very passionate. And you can, today I'm inaugurating my students who are going, I have governor scholarship. You realize scholarships are only given by banks, Equity, Cooperative, I know all these people with Safaricom. Then I said, but why? We are a government. We can also give a scholarship.
At what tune? 2 million, 3 million total amount you're giving?
We have a scholarship where we allocate about 100,000 per student per year. Right now I have 347 students who are under governor scholarship. And we only choose those who come from poor families, poor, challenged, and those who are passed to go to national schools. So you can see that I'm targeting the top grade. I'm targeting those that will be academicians like me. Because those ones that are definitely going to be academicians. These are thinkers. Those are knowledge creators. So we already have that. Today, if you have the time, I also invite you. I'm going to give them their fees, their pocket money. We do shopping for them. They come to play. So they are there. So that education we have done extremely well. The other area we have done well is in agriculture. For the last 4 years I've been here, we have not had any famine or any food shortage here.
I've never heard of that.
No. So I have now, we have small parcels of land. You've seen it there. So I've said now we have to move away from subsistence agriculture, where you are just growing to food to eat. We have now moved to kilimo biashara or agri-business. And that is where we are working. And I can tell you, for the last 4.5 years, I have now about 800 groups that we have financed to develop various agricultural value addition programs. We have an agricultural production value addition program for chicken. Here, if you have not eaten chicken, you are not a visitor.
We've not.
So you need to eat a chicken.
So I'm not a visitor yet.
You're not yet. Even if somebody slaughters a big bull without a cuckoo, my friend, you are just seen as an ordinary visitor. So we have a value chain for chicken. We have given groups, incubators. People now no longer go to Kenchik to look for chicks.
Yes.
The people are incubating now. And then from there, we have given them all the extension. We have value addition on traditional vegetables.
Yes.
You know, Vihiga is where people eat all types of vegetables. Even the leaves you see and you think they are just leaves for cows and goats. We eat them.
Yeah.
You know?
So I like the way you're putting it. It sounds so real. So real.
So here we are promoting the value chain of, they call it African leafy vegetables. So we have a value chain there. And we are doing very well, extremely well. In fact, I'm about to build a cold storage room. So that when we have so much of that vegetables, when they can't get sale, because the market gets glutted, because when they produce everything, everybody takes to the market. So we want now to do value addition. We put them in cold storage. We want them to dry them using solar panels and package them.
Governor, you've spoken so well about your achievements, and you said
we have also banana, and then banana value chain. Then we have also dairy value chain. You can also pass Vihiga Dairy Cooperative Society as you go to the extravaganza. Pass there, you will see what is going on.
Governor, you talked so well about your achievements, but you said that failure is part of the success.
Yes.
What are your failures? Because if you admit that you failed, it means that you are growing.
I can tell you where we have failed, not to a large extent, but in terms of things like public participation. I believe,
which is quite fundamental in the
yes, and that's why I'm telling you, me being an academician, I can tell you, yes, the type of public participation that we say we are doing is not public participation.
Why? Where are the gaps?
And it's not only in Vihiga here. It's all other where people say they are public participation.
No, but let's just narrow down.
So Vihiga here, I can tell you on public participation, we have failed. And that's why I have set up now a new directorate to deal with public participation. Whereby people must be taught or taken through the process of public participation. And when there is a program to be taken through public participation, what is expected? The current practice is that when there is a public participation, they just call people. The people who are known. There are people here in this county who are professional public participators. They will go to every public participation. And when they go there, they are only just given, this is the document. Okay, we are doing finance bill. We are going to increase the price of this, we shall reduce this and this. And they are taken through like a classroom. And then from there they are told, can you say this is okay? I don't think that's right.
Number two, failure?
So public participation, we have not done well, particularly on projects. And what have we done? I must give you the answer. What we have done, because if I say we have failed, you go and report that, or teacher said he has failed. What we have now done is we have now constituted the ward planning and development committees in each ward. And I'm going today. That's why that guy is in a hurry. He wants me to go to open a training course. Where we have formed committees in every ward. Those committees, we have selected people who are knowledgeable. Because there's no point to bring also people who are not knowledgeable into a very technical thing. So we are now training them. These committees will be there now. When there's public participation, they are the key people who will mobilize. The people there, they will be given the materials, they will be taken through the awareness, they will also take awareness of the people. When our team comes there, they are prepared. They are prepared to now answer the questions.
Governor, this is 2022, and the election is just around the corner. Where do you stand as a governor?
I want to win. I must retain this office. That's where I stand. My first priority, number one, is to retain my seat, because I believe I have so much to offer to the people of Vihiga. My program is not ended. My program, my manifesto was 10 years. So they are unfinished activities.
And this area is perceived to be an ANC zone. How are you going to crack
This is not an ANC zone.
That's the perception out there.
That is the perception. But I can tell you, ANC may have 40%, but this, to me, Vihiga, is an ODM zone.
But we never see you in any rally, Governor. I've never seen any
let me tell you, my brother. In fact, you are my son.
Yes.
I can tell you, the movers and shakers of this country don't talk much.
No, but you have to be seen.
No, I'm telling you, even the politicians who make things happen in this country are very humble, quiet guys who make things happen. So I'm one of them. Things happen, I can tell you, I'm the father, I'm the patron of ODM in Vihiga. And I've held Vihiga single-handed. Here.
Single-handedly, but you had some issues at the county assembly sometimes back, Governor.
You know, being at the assembly issues is normal. By the way, if you don't have issues, then you are not working. Issues, you must have issues.
How did you contain them?
By sitting down the way we have sat down here and discussing. We tell them, yes, your concern is this, but also my concern is this. So we discuss and agree. Yeah. So we you know, you have in life problems are the ones that make us move.
Yes.
If I wake up in the morning and have no problem, then I'll be a very frustrated person the whole day.
Governor, let me ask you this question. The Auditor General raised a very pertinent issue. In tunes of hundreds of millions. What are you doing about that?
You saw the period. The period was 2013 to 2014, when all those bills were incurred, they were not paid. So that's some of the challenges I've told you.
Yes.
That during that first that first leadership,
yes,
they never put governance system in place. So those are the outcome of lack of good governance. So me, I'm suffering. For the last 4 years, I've been suffering from the sins that were committed by.
That's what you signed up for. You're not suffering. That's what you signed up for.
Yes.
Because you took the government.
Yes, and I came in because I saw those problems, and I came in to come and sort them out.
Where are you right now? What's the pending bills?
The pending bills up to now, it was 2.7 billion. We have now paid. We are now at 639 million remaining.
That's good.
So I'm doing very well. So what the Auditor General said is true. And I agree with her 100%. That the system that was there before were just, incurring expenditure, even when the expenditure wasn't not in the budget. And that's why I have suffered. I would have done very well. Because you can imagine paying over 2 billion on pending bills. Suppose that money was to me for the 4.5 years, I would have transformed it.
What is the annual turnover in terms of revenue collection in the county?
When I came in, I found, you can't believe it, the revenue collection was 93 million. Annually. I have moved it to 196 million. But this is because of Corona. If Corona had not hit and we had to close the markets, we had to close everything, our projection was that by now we should be collecting about 300 million.
Governor, because you're running out of time, allow me to ask you this question. Some of your staff members were arrested some times back because of issues at the county assembly. How did you handle that?
You see, once the people are arrested, it means that it's a criminal, it's a legal issue.
Yes.
And therefore it's only the court.
It tainted the image of your county.
Yes, and that's why I've told you the issue of governance. If you do not have a proper governance system in place, my friend, even if you have how many billions of shillings, you cannot move.
You cannot.
So governance is the most important thing. Any system that has no clearly defined governance system cannot work. And that's what I inherited. And that's why I'm telling you, as we are talking now, within the governance docket, I would say we are about probably 65%.
Good.
We still have 35% to cover. And that's what I want, to remain a governor in this seat, so that the 35% I put the governance system in place. Come 2027, when I'm leaving this seat, the governance system will be in place, and it doesn't matter who comes.
It doesn't matter who comes.
It doesn't matter who comes to be the governor. The system will be in place, and you'll only be forced by the system. Okay. You must do this.
I only have 2 minutes. Question number 1. What's one of the legacy that you want to leave behind after 2027?
The legacy I want to leave behind after 2027, first of all, is the governance issue.
Good.
I want to see Vihiga having a governance structure that is transparent and accountable.
Good one.
If I do that, I think I would have got more than 70.
Yes.
The second legacy I want to leave is to change the mindset of our youth from expecting to be employed to transforming into employers by creating their own jobs.
Self-sufficient.
Yeah, self-sufficient. Because everybody here, in fact, the highest amount of money that comes to Vihiga every month, every day, yes, through M-Pesa is by people who are in the diaspora. So I want to change it because people believe only you can be employed. So that's what I want to change, the mindset. And that's why I'm starting these things of youth extravaganza,
right,
to develop talent. You may be aware, Vihiga is the only county in this country that has a sports fund. Even the national government doesn't have a sports fund. You know it.
You can take all the bragging rights.
Yes.
Brag about it, government.
Yes. So we are the only one.
Right.
And you can see our Vihiga Queens. They are the champions of Sekafa.
Yes.
Show me how a small county like this can be a champion of Sekafa. Right now we have 2 teams in the Premium League. We have Bunyore's Talents. We have Vihiga's Bullets. So I have 3 teams in the Premium League.
Governor, I'm so passionate about the youth, but let me ask you this last question. What, away from the limelight, away from the politics, I know you're a family man, but what's your passion? Do you play guitar? Do you sing? Do you play?
My passion?
Draft, ajua?
My passion is when I just want to relax.
Yes.
I like rumba music. I'm a rumba guy.
Give me a line as we watch me right now. Yeah. Your favorite?
I have so many favorites. Like in the best of all is by Negro Sanse, Mabe and Bila.
Governor, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we really so much appreciate. But so far, what you're doing, we really need to appreciate. And if possible, you can take it to the next government if you're re-elected to the next office. And we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
I want to give you only 2 seconds and talk to your constituents in this camera.
Thank you, the people of Vihiga. I'm proud of you. I'm happy you have given me a chance to be your governor. And I want to assure you, I'll do everything possible to ensure that Vihiga is a better place than where I found it. And therefore, I need your support. As we go into the election, I am pleading, requesting you to give me a second chance to complete what I've started. But at the same time, I'm requesting you to elect leaders who are focused, who are selfless, and who are willing to transform the lives of the people of Vihiga, and not those who are selfish. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is Governor Wilberforce Otichilo, County 038, Vihiga County. We are taking a break. We'll be right back.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Let's give him our blessings, okay?
Blessings? What about me then?
Shannon, don't go. I won't allow you to ruin Windsor and Pinky's wedding.
No, I must stop them right now. I must stop them now.
You're Shannon, aren't you? How come?
Right. I'm not dead. I'm still alive.
Mtoto yuko wapi?
Yuko ndani, bado daktari anamwangalia.
Na huyu mwanamke sitaki kumuona hapa.
Kawaida ya mwanamke anayemjali mtoto wake hukuwa katika hali hii wakati kama huu.
Mnaelewa vizuri sana ni sababu gani ambayo inatufanya tukae chini hapa pamoja.
Nice try.
Oh no, sweetheart. I was not trying.
So watakuniacha ma?
Nipe sababu ya kubaki na wewe.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us this far. But in case you are just joining us, karibu tena sana. This is Good Morning Kenya. I am Jane Wamboy. We'd absolutely love to know where you're watching us from this morning. So feel free to check in via our various communication platforms. On Twitter, we are using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya. Our official station handle ever remains to be at KBC Channel 1 across all the social media platforms. My handle is at Jane Wamboy. So right now, we move on to the next segment. And this one is all about learning and looking at the future of learning, where we are, what the pandemic has taught us, and where we need to be, redirecting our focus when it comes to learning, and more so appreciating the online platform for that matter. With us in studio today, we have two gentlemen that are going to be helping us with this conversation. To my immediate right, we have Brian Masinde, who is a graduate and a beneficiary of Allison, which is a learning platform. Good morning, Brian, and welcome.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for being with us today. And to my extreme right, we have Mike Fierig, who is the CEO of Allison.com. Good morning, Mike, and welcome to the program.
Morning, Jen. Great to be here.
Thank you for making time to be with us. So if you have any questions or you're just seeking clarifications in regards to this conversation, use that hashtag and we'll be getting to them in just a bit. Now, let me start with you, Mike. Sure. Given you are the CEO and founder of Allison.com, in a condensed version, what is Allison.com all about?
So Allison.com is an empowerment platform, and it started 15 years ago with free learning. And the opportunity came about through technology, through the internet, through communication technologies, to provide quality learning online for free.
Yes.
And to do it in a scalable and sustainable way through a business model of advertising and optional costs. So it has grown from being very small to over 24 million people around the world. And the reason I'm in Africa is just even from January of this year till now, about 35 to 40% of the entire traffic worldwide on Allison is in Africa. And that's tremendous because there's such growth here, and it is the continent of tomorrow, and that's why we're here.
Was that the projection that you had when you were setting up this particular platform to just ensure that you're offering this platform for learning? What was the mission, or what was the projection that you had when you were setting it up?
Well, I guess when you're I'd be fairly socially focused, and just saying if you're going to spend your work your lifetime at one job, what could be the single most impactful job that you could do? And as Nelson Mandela says, you know, education is the single greatest weapon we have to change the world. It is so true. And that's what I set about doing. And I realized that the technologies were available to make education free to everybody, but nobody was doing it. See, the education industry is one of the biggest in the world. It's over $4 trillion. But a lot of people are making a lot of money out of the way it is right now. But the truth is only 8% of the world have ever gone to college. So what about the other 92%? A lot of them don't have the resources. There's a cliche about Nigeria today where there's huge interest and huge need, but Nigeria supposedly needs to create 20 new colleges every year for the next 20 years just to satisfy current demand. So what you're seeing is that the old system for college and university that's been used in the Western world is utterly inappropriate and inefficient for educating the entire world, and that's not just Africa. So that's what I set about in looking at Allison. It was, can we create an economic model where people make money by putting quality content on a platform so that others can learn for free? And that's what we set out to do, and that's what we're achieving, because even though we're 15 years old, we're actually only beginning in what we're trying to do. I would be happy at some day when there's 1 billion people on the platform.
That's the future we're looking at. Now let me come to you, Brian. You know, what was your first interaction with Allison? How did you even discover it?
So my first interaction was when I finished university. I looked for a job. I never got a job. And you know, in the corporate world in Kenya, for you to get a job, you have to really work hard. So
tarmacking.
You have to tarmac. So I studied international relations to work with NGOs, but then I realized I needed something more for me to be able to be competitive in the market. So, and I didn't have money to go back to school, because most people are going for masters back in school. So I just went online and was like, hey, a free course to do maybe finance and accounting. Then I got one, and it happened to be in Allison, and I'm really lucky it's Allison. It's not, you know, in a lot of online things you get a lot of fishy things which are not nice, which are not legit, which are not straightforward. So I got Allison, and I finished my introduction to financial and accounting, and it helped me a lot in getting a job, because I got to be able to answer questions in interviews. And you see in Allison, what they teach you is just the same thing you learn in school. And you see the world is changing. We saw during COVID, people were at home a lot, and people are on their phones a lot, people are on their computers a lot. So once you realize that, you can do more with your phone, and you can learn more. It's free and it's so easy. Like, it's the same thing you learn in school. Like what I answered in my interview questions, and what I learned in Allison. And what I learned in Allison, like what they have in university and what they have in Allison, if you compare them, they're all the same. Like the people who write the content, the school staff there, they know their job.
And you see, that's the reservation that so many people have about learning online. Like, is the quality going to be the same as in-person learning? What was your personal experience in terms of, given that you had already gone to university prior to this, and you're now switching to a complete online platform for knowledge purposes? How were the two compared?
So,
in terms of quality?
When I was starting, I thought that I want to do this just to get some papers to add to my CV so that I can be able to get a better job. But when you do the course, you actually realize you're in school. Because you thought that you're just going to go through it, you're going to get that. But it's actually a real course where you get exams, you get assessments. And in my bag, it's just that I haven't brought it here. After that, you graduate and you get a real certificate, a real diploma. Like, it's completely what you get in school. The lessons are taught by SMEs, subject matter experts. Like, let's say today, like let's say you, if you wanted to learn filmmaking, since you're in this world of cameras and everything, you can go there and you'll learn about how to write storyboards, write monologues, write cool stuff, and they're from professionals out of Africa and in Africa. So you learn, and it's never late to stop learning.
So quality wasn't compromised at any point.
It wasn't compromised at all.
All right.
I think, Jen, if I can add, just one of the things, as Brian is saying, that was very important is differentiation. So he was coming out of college with a degree, but lots of other people had the degree. So, but when you go into a job interview, the interviewer and the employer wants to know, well, what's different about you? Why should I hire you instead of the next guy? So it's very, very important to be able to show that you're different, that you have that edge, that you have that extra piece of skill. And that's what Alison is terrific at, because it doesn't cost you, and you have over 4,000 free courses to choose from. So it just gives you the edge, and that's what we find again and again from interviewing Alison graduates. It just gives you the edge in the workplace, both makes you more competitive, gets you that promotion. It just puts you ahead, and it all goes back to personal motivation in terms of just trying to better yourself, make yourself more employable, make yourself more productive, and you can do it, and it doesn't cost you anything, and that's the wonderful thing about it.
Now that brings me to the fact that you have been operating for 15 years, and the platform is still free for anyone who wants to, get on there, learn some of these transferable skills. How have you managed to make it sustainable over the years, given all the courses, over 4,000, as you've mentioned, are free?
Yes. Well, everybody asks us that. But let me tell you how. The thing is, it's all about volume. It's all about how many people. So we don't have a big marketing budget. In fact, most people, like Brian found out about on the web, are from word of mouth. People saying, hey, this is where you go get a course and that. So the business model is based on advertising, and it should be no surprise to people. Facebook is based on advertising, Google is based on advertising. Why can't one of the largest platforms globally be in education be based on advertising? The beauty of advertising is that the person watching doesn't actually pay directly. Now everybody pays indirectly because you're watching something and people are trying to sell you stuff, but we accept that as part of life. We accept it so that we get TV, that we get radio, and other. So why not apply it to education? So that's what we've done. So over half of our revenues come from advertising. But the one thing that's really unusual about Alison is that because we're very global, if somebody actually clicks an ad in the United States, which is actually our single biggest market worldwide, that means a lot. You can make $5, $6 in a click, right? Whereas if somebody clicks in, say, someplace like Zimbabwe, we might make 1 cent or 2 cents. So the person in the United States clicking pays for 100 people in Zimbabwe. Now, what that means is that we have to be competitive in our learning in a market as competitive as the United States to be able to get that revenue in the United States. And what happens is that Africa and other parts of the world are not getting seconds, they're getting exactly what the guy in California is getting.
Same quality, same standards.
Same quality standards. So that's the beauty of advertising. And the other part of it is that when you complete a course, as Brian was saying, you have to pass an assessment. If you get 80% in your final assessment, you are an Alison graduate. You don't have to pay anything extra. You can get a certificate, which is a nice to have, not a need to have. And many people buy that because they like to have it and like to be able to show it to an employer or just put it up on a wall.
The physical nature of it.
But you don't have to buy it. And that's the thing, because particularly in Africa, and we're very conscious of this, is that some people just don't have the money to buy that either. But the way that we're set up is that no matter what you have, if you can get on a phone, you are on Alison and you can use all of our services, and that's the beauty of it. But going back to your business model, it really is about volume. It's about making a few cents from a lot of people. Every month we would have many millions of people all over the world on the platform, and once a few people click a few ads, particularly in America, we're doing fine. But you would be surprised with Africa as well. Is one of the things that shows us watching the numbers on our platform, and it's a large digital platform, is the progress of Africa as a continent and the growing strength of Africa as an economic place, because the advertising yield, how much you make per advertising in every country in Africa, is going up. What does that that is a really nice signature to say, you know what, things are happening in Africa. And whether you see it every day when you go outside your door, I'm telling you from what we see in the statistics is that Africa is becoming economically more strong every day. So that's why we're excited about Africa, besides the fact that we know that there's a huge need right across Africa here.
All right.
Yeah.
So 15 years has clearly given you that trajectory that, looking at where you were when you started to where we are currently with the platform and the numbers that you are seeing.
Yeah.
And also looking at the fact that, yes, you are out to offer a free platform for people to gain knowledge, but you're also in business. You also have competition. I mean, there are other platforms that are still employing the same model to offer free, a platform for free education, and particularly so looking at YouTube, which is one of the most common, and especially among the youth.
Yeah, well, the one thing about YouTube and Alison is, yes, we can be compared to YouTube, but the fact is, if you go onto a video on YouTube, you don't really know how long it is, you don't know what level it's at, you don't know who the author is, so there's so much that you don't know about a video as to whether you're going to stay on it or not. Whereas on Alison, there's no piece of learning that goes on Alison which is not reviewed, which is not the case on YouTube. And you have subject matter experts that will make sure that it's 101, 102, 103, and you know where you're going. For instance, if you're learning English and you want to get a certificate in English, you will first do a test on Alison. You'll say, okay, well, first thing you need to know is, where's your English at? Is it beginner, is it intermediate, proficiency, advanced? And then we'll tell you, this is where you start. We have 68 courses in English. We'll tell you which one to start at. Maybe you're at 1 or 2 or 3. But most people, certainly in Africa, well, a lot of people in Africa have basic English. But do you want to be able to certify that for an employer, particularly if that employer is hiring you from abroad? What we see today is, Alison has 200 employees around the world. 50 of them are in Africa. Every one of them working remotely. So when we, based in Ireland, are looking to hire somebody else in Africa, we want to know the broad spectrum of education and skill set that they have. We want to make sure that they can use a spreadsheet online. We want to make sure that they speak English to a level that's... So we give them our own tests. We have our own dog food, as they say. We eat our own dog food. So this is a way of being able to assess people remotely, because a lot of the opportunity for workers in Africa going forward is not working for the company that's down the street. It's working for the company that's thousands of miles away, but that you have the skills that they need.
All right. Now, let me come to you, Brian. Looking at, how practical this platform was when you were taking the course that you did, how easily could you maneuver your way around it to use the different tools that are available there? Compared to, when you go to class, you have your book, your pen, you're waiting for the lecturer.
It's just, how can I say it? It's all the same. It's all about, what do you want? Like, what do you want in life? What's your next step? What's your next move? When you don't have a job, what are you gonna do? So you have to just keep on looking for something. And like he said, like, you're on your phone. If you have a phone, you have Alison.
The platform is user-friendly.
Yeah,
for even someone who maybe it's the first time I'm getting a smartphone, and I've heard about Alison. I want to do a short course that will help me get papers to be able to get this entry-level job.
Yeah. As long as you have Instagram, you have Alison. It's the same way, as in the same way you go liking photos, it's the same way you can take a pen, a paper, take your phone, get on Alison, you scroll, you study something. And at times you don't even want to do it to get certification. You just want to learn something. You want to study. You see, the time, have you ever been on your phone at times and you want to look at something and you don't want to be on social media? You want to learn something. Maybe you want to learn about the war, World War II, or you want to learn about fashion or anything. But you go online, maybe on Wikipedia, and you search, and then it brings you a lot of things. There's an Alison, it's all like that. When you search, you get one thing, then you start studying and studying. And like in Kenya, like, the people have jobs maybe they didn't even study for. Like, you can find someone who's working in PR and they studied human resource. So once you get to PR and you realize people in your workplace are more advanced than you, what do? You're like, I want to get like them. So not that you lose your job, but for you to be just like them, to gain the confidence in you, you go on Alison, or just go online and say, I want to learn PR now that I'm a human resource guy. And 2 months, 3 months after you've graduated, you'll come and tell these guys something you've learned, and they'll be like, oh, she's catching up fast. She's one of us now. So, yeah.
Yeah, and also just bringing the same aspect to you, Mike, you know, because looking at the reception when you get to this platform, it could be a make or break for so many people, because I don't want to also get onto a platform that is going to be another process getting to learn how to use this platform before I get to the step where I get to gain the knowledge from this platform. In terms of making it user-friendly, considering that you have a global population to attend to, how has that been factored in or addressed?
Well, I guess, you know, we have growing UX and UI teams, you know, in terms of user interface. We do a lot of research.
Yeah.
We don't just do research for in just one country. We do it in research around the world. So when we're launching any new particular feature on the platform, we will have a focus group somewhere in Africa. We will look in India. We will look in the States. We will get feedback from different places.
Yeah.
So I would say growing resource within the company, because we're growing and we have more people with more expertise. That's definitely driving the ease of using the platform, and then just doing better research. But it's important to note as well that we've moved beyond just being free learning. So, for instance, say in Brian's instance, if he didn't know what job he should be doing, you can do a free workplace personality test. So you just go on, you do your test, and it'll tell you. You know, we often say to people who want to learn and become employed, well, hold on a minute, who are you? What aptitudes do you have? Do you know who you are?
Yeah.
How about a bit of self-examination? Go through a test. It'll only take 18, 19, 20 minutes or so. It'll ask you fundamental questions about how do you deal with people? How do you deal with pressure? How do you deal with this and that? And then at the end of the score, it says, you know what? You should be looking at doing this career, or you should be looking at this job. And then you will go on to Alison, and we list we're heading to having every career possible worldwide listed, but we have about 700 of the main careers, which would cover 95% of the workforce worldwide. And we'll point you to those careers and say, okay, your test says that you might be best to consider these type of careers and these type of jobs. And if you wanted to consider it, these are the courses that you do. So if you're unemployed, or if you're in a job and you're thinking, you know what, I might like a career change, go test yourself. And you can do it for free.
It goes back to what Brian was saying. You know, we are having so many people in careers that they didn't study for because of career mismatch, you know, wrong advice from campus, from peers and all that. So I think that's a very added advantage when it comes to people, and especially when you are out of campus. So just before joining campus, you need to understand yourself, your personality, who you are before you decide, I want to go into media, into international relations and the likes. Now, that made me even forget what I wanted to ask you. But let me come back to you. Looking at, now narrowing down to Africa, given Africa is one of the populations that are heavily on the Alison platform, what are some of the courses that you have noted are mostly taken by learners within the African space?
Yeah. For sure, some of the business courses. So, for instance, project management. Project management is applicable to nearly any business. And if you're working for a company and you want a promotion, what an employer wants you to do is to take on more responsibilities. That's how you get paid more, is basically. So, but can you handle that responsibility? Can you handle more things in your workplace? If you go along and you do a project management course in Alison, and we have many of them at different levels, and then you present that on your CV or resume, people say, okay, this person has thought fundamentally about this. The other thing is about, you know, sometimes people are in a company and they want a promotion. Do they understand basic finance? Just like Brian did a finance course. Do they understand basic customer service? If you're in a foreign country, perhaps, or say, for instance, you're in a part of Africa where French is the leading language, can you? And you're in a hotel situation. How about doing a course English in a hospitality setting? Prove to your employer that you have the skills, because this is what's happening in the world of work. It's becoming less about where you went to college or where you learned something and how much it cost you, to being able to say, who are you? What are your skills? And what do you know? And what can you do?
What do you have to offer?
Yes, but you see, it's becoming, technology is allowing us to assess people separate. They don't care where you went to college or how much you paid and how much your parents paid. That's an old signaling of how smart you might be. Today, if you go on a platform like Alison, we can test you on a whole load of stuff. We can ask you about a whole load of, you know, in terms of knowledge about different industries. We can test your personality. We can see so much about who you are, so that you don't need to have a piece of paper. And that's where the world of work is going. It will matter less and less that you went to college. It will matter, what do you really know? And who are you and what are your skills? Because we're going to be able to assess that more and more today.
It's all about the transferable skills in this day and time and the future. Now, remember, this is a conversation all about Allison.com and, of course, looking at the future of learning, what you and I can stand to gain. And, of course, looking at the past 2 years, the pandemic has definitely taught us that what we are used to can be changed in just a matter of seconds. So do stay with us. Any questions or comments, we welcome you to share them with us. We will be addressing them as we continue on with the show. But for now, we take a very quick breather. We'll be back to continue this discussion. Do stay with us.
Let's give him our blessings, okay?
Blessings? What about me then?
Shannon, don't go. I won't allow you to ruin Windsor and Pinky's wedding.
No, I must stop them right now. I must stop them now.
You're Shannon, aren't you? How come?
Right. I'm not dead. I'm still alive.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. This is still Good Morning Kenya. I am Jade Wamboy. Today we're talking about the future of education, and with us in studio this morning, rather the future of learning, with us in studio this morning, we have Brian Masinda, who is a graduate and beneficiary of Allison Learning Platform, and we also have Mike Furick, who is the CEO and founder of Allison.com. Now, just picking up from where we left off before we took this commercial break, and let me just come back to you, Mike. We were looking at the aspect of I lose my train of thought. Now, before we get back to that, let me come to you, Brian. Looking at the fact that you went through the course and you had already been to school, got out of school, didn't get a job immediately, came to this platform and got to do this course that sort of gave you that competitive edge over others when it comes to your employability. Is this something you would advise other graduates to actually venture into, as opposed to just waiting and applying for jobs and waiting to be called to one of these jobs by virtue of having gotten a degree?
Yes. One thing is, when you go to an interview, when you want a job, when you go for an interview, they always ask you what you've learned in school. So my first interview, I was asked what I learned in school.
Yes.
And then my friend took a course in diploma in hospitality and tourism management and finished. And when she went for an interview, she was asked exactly what was on that course. So it does not only just give you a competitive edge, it gives you the knowledge you need. Like the people who are writing these courses, the hospitality courses, the fashion courses, they're chefs and SMEs are subject matter experts, people who've been in that field for a long time. So they're giving you what they would ask you in an interview. And literally what you go there when you're training, that's what they're teaching you. So you'll be surprised. It won't hit you immediately, but 1 month, 2 months into the job, you'll say, oh, this actually helped me. I'm here now. So it's all about what you want, and it helps. Yes, it's actually the truth. I don't know how to tell someone it's actually the truth, but it is the truth. It's one thing online that will help you.
As opposed to just waiting to get a job.
Waiting to get a job.
In the meantime, you could be learning a new skill.
If you can spend 1 hour on Instagram, you can separate it. Make 30 minutes on Instagram, 30 minutes on Alison.
Practicality.
Yeah.
Now, let me come back to you, Mike. And Alison, for the most part, has been used by individuals who interact, want to gain a new skill, gain some knowledge, go onto the online platform, do a short course, get your certification, and you're good to go. But now looking at organizations that might want to, upskill their employees or have some of these online platforms brought onto their curriculum, is there a facilitation for such when it comes to bigger organization and entities?
Yeah. Well, absolutely, and there's an extraordinary opportunity for any size of business. So you said big businesses, but even a small business. So on the Alison platform, what you can do now is we have a free LMS. Now, an LMS is a learning management system, okay? So essentially, even if you're a small corner bakery and you have 5 staff and you want them to know how to make the croissants in the morning, you can actually go on Alison, you create your own videos, you put it up and you can create your own course. And then every time you hire new staff, you say, okay, you can join the team, but first go off and do a course, so that you're not constantly teaching people everything, right? And that's entirely free. So then you can have your own group, and then not only can you assign them the croissant making course, right? You can say, okay, if you're working in a small business or in a small shop, you should know the basics of customer service, right? You should know the basics of accounting. You should know the basics of this and that. Why, if the courses are free, why shouldn't you ask your staff to do it? So that's just the small company. But even when a larger company, it's a huge, around the world today, most of the companies that actually provide learning and training to their staff are fairly large, because they see it as a budget issue. It's very expensive to do it, okay? But with Alison, we've completely pulled the rug onto that. There is no need to be charging extra for learning management systems. On Alison, you can go on as a company and you can create a group. You can put your staff onto the group, and then you can sign any of the 4,000 courses that you think are good for your business, and then you can monitor the progress. You might assign a course to a particular person and saying, okay, I want that done in 2 weeks. Then they get a reminder, 2 weeks coming up, you haven't completed, you might have done 80%. Finish it, and then somebody, the manager, or the owner of the company, or the HR manager can just review that. All of this is entirely free. So essentially, what we're doing, what we did for individual learning, or what we started to do 15 years ago, today we're just, or in the last few months, what we're starting is for organizations, is giving them the same opportunity. Why should a small company not be able to train their staff like larger ones? Alison levels the playing field between companies that way. So what it does is it encourages every employee within a company to embrace learning, and it encourages every HR manager to make their own team more productive, because it doesn't cost them any more money. So there's a revolution going to happen here, and hopefully we're starting it.
And what's the average course duration from the over 4,000 courses that you have to offer? On average, what is the shortest time period that you're looking for a particular course to the ones that take the longest time frame?
Well, going back to YouTube, instead of in comparison with YouTube, and Alison courses are very defined. So on Alison, you either do a certificate or a diploma. It's pretty much the two. You can have an advanced diploma, but very few courses are long enough that we would say it's an advanced diploma. To do a certificate will take you, the course on average, for the average learner around the world, would be somewhere between 1.5 hours and 2.5 hours. Right, it's a certificate. We noticed from our own research many years ago that people like a little clap on the back when they go an hour and a half to 2.5 hours. It was a natural type of a time. So we put that's our certificate. And most of the courses on the platform would be certificates. All right, the higher up though is the diploma. So a diploma is somewhere between 9 and 11 hours. You won't do it in one sitting. You won't do it in a week. People just don't have that time. So it takes a number of weeks to do an Alison diploma. Most people would do an Alison diploma over a month period. And then of course you would have your assessment. Of course, as you do it, you have to remember all the stuff that you learned from the very first to the last module that you're studying. But that's how it's broken down. An Alison certificate and an Alison diploma, and then on occasion an advanced diploma, where of course it's just particularly long. There are some subjects which just naturally lend themselves to saying, look, you really need to study 15 hours or 16 hours to get something out of this. But that's what they are: certificates, diplomas, and advanced diplomas.
It allows for someone to tailor it into their daily routine and schedule to allow for enough time to study and still go about your day. Yeah,
that's the beauty about online. Like 65% of all of the learning on the Alison platform worldwide is via a mobile phone, via a smartphone. And you know, it's becoming affordable for everyone. If you look at the statistics from the United Nations as to per capita income around the world, and you look at some of the poorest countries, even the poorest countries, you can get a phone deal per month that will easily be affordable. Like India, in India for $4 a month you can have an enormous amount of data downloaded in a year, and that type of technology is going right across Africa. So the phone is just we all know that we all use our smartphones, but it is revolutionary in that way in terms of how it can access you to and empower you through education and self-knowledge.
All right. Now, Brian, looking at the perception that we have about getting a university degree or going to school for a diploma or a certificate for that matter, as opposed to the online platform where an hour and a half or 2 hours I can have a certificate. So in a month I can have 4 or 5 certificates. Looking at this perception shift that needs to be there when it comes to getting people to understand it's not just about a degree, but the quality that comes from it. What do you think can be done, and especially among the younger people, to appreciate that just because it's a short course, it doesn't mean it is of less value compared to a degree, because we have so many people wanting to do degrees over short courses?
Well, doing a degree is not bad, it's good, but also doing a short course is not bad, it's good. But the late president of Kenya, Mwai Kibaki, introduced free education in Kenya, and look at how good that helped us. Everyone has benefited from that free education, because I remember I was in class 6 when he introduced free education in Kenya, and it really helped. Like, it helped a lot of people. People might not know it, but free education helped, and this is what Alison gives you. Gives you free education, and it's never too late to learn something. Once you have something, once you know something, once you've studied something, it sticks with you. It never goes anywhere. So free education is what is being offered by Alison. It was offered by our late president Mwai Kibaki, rest him in peace. And you want to help yourself, you want to be better, take a course.
Take a course.
Yeah, he should tell you how many Africans are. I've been trying to tell him, he should tell you how many Africans.
Before I get to that, Jenna, I was talking earlier before we came on, it was just, Ireland today is a wealthy country, no question about it. But my father grew up in the 1930s with going to school with no shoes. It was a poor country. And what changed it was education. There is nothing that can change the destiny of a country than adherence and embracing of education. So there's one thing that's exciting about Africa. If you go to being in Kenya or Nigeria, where we have a lot of learners, South Africa, it's just there is an intense interest in education, in learning, in empowering yourself and developing your own skills. So it really is only a matter of time. Africa will be where Ireland is today. It's just a matter of being patient and putting in the work. Because the one thing that we haven't said about, Brian needed to have the motivation to sit down and say, you know what, I'm going to improve myself.
And that starts with the perceptions that we have when it comes to short courses, because I'm telling you, this is something that I have personally seen. People have a certain perception about a short course over a degree. People value a degree over a short, and not to say that a degree is bad. I have a degree, I value that. But over time, you also understand that short courses also can take you a mile further.
you have to go back to the employer. At the end of the day, what's college? Most people are going to college so that they get a job. So forget about that for a minute. What does the employer want to know? The employer wants to know what do you know and how smart are you? Because what you know is only going to be a fraction of what you will need to know once you get into the job. It's only a small. Most people would say 5 to 10% of knowledge is what you come into a job. The rest is you learn fairly quickly. So what an employer really wants to know is not that you went to a particular college or it cost you so much, or that's, it's really how much do you know, and tell me, and also relevant skill and timely skills. A lot of things change, particularly in technology. So you mentioned Instagram a couple of times. So what if you were a marketer on Instagram? Well, I won't want to, if somebody comes into me on a course and say, oh, I'll manage your Instagram account, but they have a course that they did 2 years ago, not interested. I want to know that you did a course 6 months ago. If you go to a college, you can be sure, most colleges around the world, the courses they're teaching are 3 and 4 and 5 years old. On an online platform, if there's, like we do this all the time. When COVID came, within 2 days of COVID being announced in China, we had courses in English on COVID. We translated into 70 different languages, including about 20 different African languages, and we had that done in 4 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks. Colleges can't put up. They cannot compete with the speed and the accuracy of online platforms.
And how things change.
And how everybody gets involved. For instance, with COVID, like particularly, I think we did 6 languages in Nigeria, all volunteer driven. We just put it out there. There were so many doctors in Nigeria. We didn't, obviously it's a sensitive thing, so we only asked Alison learners who are doctors, tell us who you are and come on board. And they all came on board because we have so many millions of people. There was 800 doctors around the world put up their hand and said, I will translate the course into my language. So it's just the speed that you can do things with online, and also to recognize that the workforce is changing and that the skills that you need for the workforce are going to change all the time. You need to keep up. Everyone needs to continuously be a learner. This idea that you went to college and I'm set for life and I'm set for the... No, that's not the case anymore. You must keep up. You must create a learning habit. And if you're listening and you're watching and you haven't done a course in a long time, I'd say to you, you're getting rusty. Get sharper. Go figure something that you like and go study it.
And especially if you want to progress career-wise.
It won't take that long and it will cost you nothing.
All right. Now that you've mentioned the pandemic, for the past 2 years, a lot has changed for so many people. And mental health and wellness was at the center of all of this. And given you are offering this platform to offer this knowledge and skills, the aspect of mental health and wellness and well-being, is it also being factored as you are looking to transfer all this knowledge? Also remembering that these people also need a healthy mental space to work.
Yeah. Well, I'm delighted you mentioned that, because in my briefing notes to you, I don't think we mentioned it. And we have mental health and well-being features on the platform. So if you, what we do with our learners is we ask them every quarter, every 3 months, we ask them, how are you doing? Because a lot of people are working remotely, a lot of people aren't talking to people. So you say, how are you doing? Go do a test. So what we do is we ask them a bunch of questions. How are you feeling about your work? How are you feeling good about yourself? How are you feeling about the work you're doing? Do you feel that you're getting support? There's a whole load of questions that a psychologist works with us to write up. So we can essentially assess where you are in terms of mental health and well-being. And what we do is we issue every quarter, then we remind people saying, you know what, 3 months ago you did our mental health and well-being test. See where you are today. Are you in a better place or in a worse place? And if you're in a worse place, what are you going to do about it? And how can we help you? Because the one thing about online learning as well is that when you complete a course, we've done research, 88% of people who complete course says that it improves their confidence, and 93% says it encourages them to learn further. So it's a very, very positive thing mentally to learn online, because you feel good about yourself. And when a course is free and it's short, at least you get to the end and you say, I did that. I did something today, or I did something this week. And what's the next thing I'm going to learn? It is contagious. I'm in East Africa for 3 weeks, and I'm going to Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, and the highlight of what I'm doing is meeting with Alison graduates, and I'm meeting with a bunch later on today here in Nairobi. And that's the wonderful story, is not just how these people have improved in terms of their employability, but also their mental health, their self-confidence, their self-esteem. Learning does that.
And it's interesting that you bring that up, because, just looking at the brief, you had mentioned that Alison has morphed over the years from just being a learning platform to an empowerment platform.
Yes.
Was this part of the end goal, or is just something that you saw coming as a result of offering these free courses to people and people actually taking them and completing them and coming back?
Yeah, I think it's part of the original vision.
Yeah.
However, you need to recognize that even though technology goes very quick, human behavior is quite slow. So sometimes it takes us a long time to change our habits.
Yes.
Okay, we all agree. So it takes a while once you get people online learning, and then you get them to take tests. Look at what we know about Alison learners, and look where the next step for us is to be able. So we've tens of millions of people on the platform. We know what they've learned. We know what the prior learning is because they tell us. We know where their psychometric status is. We can then, what we do on the other side is to offer them employment. We can say to employers, saying, who are you looking for? And we can tell you exactly who we have on our database that fits that, and then we introduce you. And we can also do that for free.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and why not? Because the thing is, we can do it. You see, take a course. If I create a course and it's digital, the marginal cost of sharing it with you, for us, is next to zero. It really is. If I create a learning management system that I allow companies to manage and monitor their learners, once that software is written, the marginal cost of sharing it is next to zero. Okay, and so and then the whole thing is when you build a platform and you introduce people and you use algorithms and you use the latest technologies of artificial intelligence, machine learning. This is something that we do in Alison. You think of us as, so Brian has talked about subject matter experts, but if you come inside Alison, you will find loads of engineers. You'll find a lot of data analysts. This is what we run a big platform, so it's all about data. It's also all about matching, saying with Brian, what's the next course that Brian might study, and can we help him figure out what he should do? Can we help him figure out what the next job opportunity is? And can we help his mental health and well-being as he's doing that? So Alison becomes a lifelong partner where you set up your profile and you go on a journey, and we go on the journey with you, constantly providing, and we don't have to ask you to pay, because while you're studying a course, ads will come up, but you can ignore them. But we make enough money out of that to be able to provide all of that service and more.
All right. Now that brings me to the employment aspect. You had mentioned you have a workforce of 200
yes.
across the world.
Yes.
Looking at the African and the Kenyan space specifically, because Brian had mentioned they're both African and foreign subject matter experts, SMEs.
Yes.
When you say SMEs, it means a whole different thing here in the Kenyan space.
Yeah.
But looking at the employment also opportunities that you're offering for some of these subject matter experts in the Kenyan space, and from what you have seen, how is that looking?
Okay, so we would have a number of publishers from Alison. There's quite a few publishers based in Kenya. They train online. Actually, Brian has done some of the introductory courses to becoming a publisher on the platform. So we definitely have employment opportunities to become a publisher. You need to go online. You need to do a couple of courses. And once you pass them, you become eligible, that we will consider, and we'll bring you on a pathway to train you so that you can work with us on courses. The thing is that if you're creating a course on basic maths or basic geography or something like that, an academic in Kenya, a Kenyan person who's a professor in that, can write the same course as somebody can do in California. So knowledge isn't precious of country. There are enough academics, enough people with subject matter expertise in Kenya to write scripts for the entire world, right? It is, and that goes for every country, right? But what I'm talking about is the decentralization of knowledge.
Yes.
It is not America and the UK and Ireland that has all the knowledge today. Universities and experts in Kenya are as good as anybody else. They can create as many courses as well. And also when they create courses, they're not just creating for the Kenyan market, they're creating it for a global world market. We have I was in Pakistan in February. We have one of our top publishers worldwide is based in Pakistan. He is making a lot of money, in the hundreds of thousands of euros per year, publishing courses from Pakistan. His costs are negligible because where he's based, and you think, and his expertise is something that is a global standard around the world. But the fact is, he's based in a developing country, but he has world-class expertise. Okay. There is world-class expertise in Kenya. We just need to access it and share it with the world. So no country can say to itself, oh, we don't have those people. Every country has smart people. Every country has experts on things that they can teach the world on. So everybody can be part of this revolution, and it's not to be waiting for the Western world. The tools are there. You can learn to be a publisher, you can publish for free on Alison, you can start making money. And actually that's another aspect of Alison which is a little unusual, is that we have a lot of people just making a lot of money on Alison and they're not producing courses at all. They're setting up as affiliates. They just introduce Alison to other people and they immediately get 20% of the revenue that we make for introducing them. So that is a huge thing worldwide. In fact, it's rapidly becoming one of our biggest sources of new learners, is people introducing us and they get a small payment. And when you're introducing, if you're based even in Kenya, you can introduce us to people in the United States. You don't have to be introducing us to people online in Kenya. Why would you do that? If you introduce people to us in America, they're worth a lot more to us. But you can do that from Kenya, and a lot of people are doing that.
And there's actually Wycliffe who's asking, what are the requirements to become a trainer on Alison?
So
a subject matter expert.
A subject matter expert. Well, there's a couple of different jobs, right? So if you're a subject matter expert, you really have to show us, tell us about your expertise. Why would somebody learn from you? Okay, so the first thing that we'd ask people, though, to do is to get to know the publishing tool, because the reason that we can operate for free is that we operate in a very lean way. We try not to, if there's costs that can be borne by the publisher, then they put in their time, they learn. So if you want to be a publisher, first thing you do is learn how to use the tool. So you go on and you do those 2 free courses like Brian did, and that you become eligible to become a publisher. Then during that process, you tell us what you want to create courses on. Okay, and we look at that and we're saying, okay, why? And why would somebody do your course? We ask you, and we compare it then with other publishers around the world that want to create courses on the very same thing, and we say, well, who has the strongest case here?
It's not about you coming and just wanting to make money as a publisher.
No, so quality is absolutely important to us, and we would peer review all courses. So it's not just a case of you saying, say for instance, there's a crop in Kenya that is unusual to Kenya, and a certain farmer knows how to grow that well. Well, I would, you would guess to begin with that person knows stuff that others don't know in other countries. However, when they create the course, what we would do is turn around and say, okay, now introduce us to people who can also confirm to us that that's a good course. And we would do that with every course. So it's not a free-for-all. If you get to become a subject matter expert on Alison, you will have been vetted.
All right. Now, as we close this conversation, let me start with you, Brian, very briefly, looking at the future of learning and where we're moving as a global population, embracing the online platform for, just as a source of knowledge and somewhere we can gain the skills, very briefly.
Well, people are getting employed out of office. People are working in Kenya and selling things in America. So technology is changing a lot of things, and someone once told me, if you do not accept change, change will change you, and you never want change to change you, because when change changes you, you won't like it.
Okay.
So accept change. When it's time for you to change, just learn something.
All right.
Okay.
Also, Mike, just very briefly, when it comes to embracing the changes that are coming with technology and moving from the traditional way of gaining knowledge and skills that we're used to actually embracing the online platform.
Yeah, it's that we need to look at the world a little differently. Is that in the world that we used to know, everyone was a learner, but today everyone's a learner and everyone's a teacher too. Everyone can share what they know.
Yes.
So we need to get used to that, and also we need to recognize that the workplace is about lifelong learning. And if you're not learning online and continuously, then you're going behind.
You're going to be left behind. All right. That brings us to a close of this conversation, a very fantastic point to actually close it. We have been speaking with Mike Furick, who is the CEO and founder of Alison.com. Thank you so much for making time to be with us. We also have been speaking with Brian Masinde, who is a graduate and beneficiary of Alison, which is a learning platform. Thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you.
With that, we want to say goodbye, but be sure to join us again tomorrow morning. For now, do enjoy the rest of your viewing. I am Jane Boy.